The All Blacks Trial. Probables, possibles. Brought to you by the new Ford Territory. The possibilities are amazing.
A new coach, a new captain, and tonight the chance to pick a team. For the first time in 6 years, an All Blacks Trial. The first choice probables against the best of the rest possibles to find out who belongs in black. Who will wear the silver fern with distinction? Pick your team to defeat the world champions. Defend the Bledisloe and keep the Tri-Nations. Right here on 3 Sport.
Tonight on 3 Sport, Eden Park is the spotlight. It's windy and clear. There's no sign of rain, which is great for the All Black Trial. Tonight it's a new era of All Black rugby under the new coaching team of Graham Henry, Steve Hansen and Wayne Smith back from the UK to sort out the All Black machine and backed up by the legend, Sir Brian Lahore. Yes, tonight on 3 Sport, welcome to New Zealand's favourite pastime. Let's pick the All Blacks. And isn't it fantastic to have a trial to help with those last-minute selections? I'm Clint Brown. Glad you could join us on 3 Sport as we count down to kick-off tonight at 9 o'clock with our expert commentary team led by Hamish Mackay. Former All Blacks, Bull Allen and AJ Wetton. And, of course, one of the great skippers of all time, Ian Kirkpatrick, will be analysing the players' performance tonight and running the sideline, the big O, Oscar Kitely. Taking a look at the two teams, the Probables led by the captain, Tana Umanga at centre. Big night for Mosi Tuiali'i and Deacon Manu. Also a big night on the possibles for their head chief and captain, John O'Gibbs. Lots of talk about Nick Evans and Craig Newby, the Harbour boys. And, of course, the 4Ms, the big experience lineup of Major, Mailing Muse and Mialamu. At 10:30 tomorrow morning, Graham Henry will announce the squad of 26 tonight. 44 players on show. So you work it out. 44, how do they go into 26? And what are the ground conditions tonight? Are they conducive for running, pressure or nervous rugby? Let's check it out with Oscar.
Thank you, Clint. I think it'll be a curious mixture of all three. Yes, I'm standing here at the ground. Very exciting news. The field is open. There was some uncharacteristic rain earlier on in Auckland, but now it's beautiful ground conditions. The wind, I'd say, is a southerly. It's about 10 to 12 knots, and it's actually quite warm, about 12 degrees. So we're all standing by for a great night of grassroots rugby. It's going that way, but if you look high on the flags, you'll see they're going from corner to corner. So that's the ground conditions. Now, of course, we're all looking forward to seeing the 44 best rugby players in the country battle it out in this first All Black trial for ages. And, of course, Graham Henry had the benefit of the closest Super 12 in history. Let's have a look now at some of the players that we like looking at in this Super 12 as they get ready for this trial of all trials.
One of the things I love about Super 12 rugby is that every year in the first few weeks new talent emerges. Guys who are solid in NPC suddenly step up to the larger theatre that is the Super 12. And by the 7th or 8th week, like Napi-san, they've become household names. Unfortunately for me and every other Blues fan in the country, two of those new game breakers were players unwanted by the Blues. Mosi Tuiali'i and Sione Lauaki. Both number 8s, Mosi is dynamic with ball in hand. He's an elusive runner who frequently manages to offload in the tackle. Now Sione, he turns in the tackle and often breaks the first line in the process. Sione is a little bit shorter and lighter than Mosi, and he doesn't quite have the same pace, but he's still fast and he's aggressive and he likes to score tries, and we like that. Both guys offer plenty in that difficult number 8 position. As well as Lauaki, there were several other Chiefs players who stood out in the Super 12 and they deserved their places in tonight's game. Deacon Manu is one of them. Nathan loves him and he's a pretty safe bet to be a new cap this winter. He's a very smart guy and he knows how to mess up an opposition scrum rather nicely. Normally a tight head, he's playing for the Probables tonight at loose head, and he says he doesn't mind which side of the scrum he plays. Of course he would say that to the coach, but hey, that's handy. Captain John O'Gibbs was a great leader and a fully committed player as he led the Chiefs to their first ever semi-final. As captain of the Possibles, he and his Chiefs coach Ian Foster along with Colin Cooper have been plotting an upset tonight. Gibbs moves from flanker to lock, and he could end up jumping beside his Chiefs teammate, Keith Robinson. Robinson was part of the All Blacks end-of-year tour in 2002, but missed selection last year in favour of Brad Thorne and Ali Williams. Robinson's had the better of Williams this year, and you can bet he'll be everywhere tonight. Probables hooker Andrew Hoare is another who was on the end-of-year tour in 02, but he didn't get selected in the big 03. He's been an accurate thrower and a determined ball carrier for the Hurricanes, a gem and a very unpolished Super 12 Hurricane team. Then there are the Harbour boys, Nick Evans and Luke McAllister. Evans became fullback at the Highlanders and he sidesteps better than a crab. He's also very good at kick and chase, safe under the high ball, and some Aussie rules background has made him one of the best punters in the country. Like Evans, McAllister has made the difference in the Harbour NPC team late last year. He's only 20, but he cuts through defences like a knife through Madeira cake. Next are the comeback kids. On the blind side for the Possibles, watch Craig Newby. He's a Rotorua boy who went to the Highlanders. Newby was dropped from Super 12 last year, went off to play in the UK, then came back and got reselected. He's consistent and he'll keep Ruben Thorne and Jerry Collins honest. On the open side for the Possibles, watch Newby's Highlander teammate Josh Blackie, another dark horse. He was dropped from the Super 12 in the 02, but his 03 and 04 seasons have been awesome. These boys have got nothing to lose. Watch them. Finally, the two wingers who impressed us. For the Chiefs, Sitiveni Sivivatu, calm and safe. He doesn't have brain explosions like John Hopewari. Unfortunately, he's not eligible till December, so you have to wonder why he's starting really. Start this fella instead, Hosea Gear. Rico's younger brother brought real menace to the Hurricanes with his once Warriors running face. He's got some great runs on the wing, big, strapping young. If he gets off the bench, look out. A great selection of players from all the Super 12 franchises. Can their Super 12 form translate to Test form? We'll find out.
So there are 16 players, not including Sitiveni Sivivatu, of course, isn't eligible. There are 16 new caps who tomorrow could be named in the new All Black squad. 16 players who have never pulled on the All Black jersey. And guess what? You can have a say into who you think it could be. All you have to do is text. It costs just 50 cents. You text AB, then space, then W for white, because that's what the Possibles are wearing. And then the player's jersey number, or AB space, then black, B for black, and the jersey number, and you send it to the number 3050, okay? That number again, 3050. Now, this isn't a competition. There's nothing to win, just the satisfaction of a job well done and a glow of contentment if you happen to be right. Okay, I'd like to throw now to our very stylish dress commentary team led by Hamish Mackay.
Thanks very much, Oscar. Styly indeed. I'm joined by Mark the Bull Allen and AJ Witten. And Bull, well, a trial within a trial. Let's start with a position very near and dear to you. Prop. Case Muse, a big opportunity for him.
What other position is there for a start, Hamish?
Well, it all begins and ends at the front row. I'm sure about that, Bull.
It does. But what it tells me is they're not happy with the loose heads on offer this year in the Super 12. So looking at Case Muse, you've got a few opportunities last year coming on as a loose head replacement, and they're putting up against Somerville, who they regard without doubt as the best tight head. So a real opportunity for him, and we know how good he is around the field. What he needs to prove is that he can do the work in set pieces.
If he can do the work at set piece, he's got a lot more chance to get involved as a loose head, hasn't he?
He has. You get a lot more chance as loose head to get out and about around the field, which could suit his game a lot better. He's got a short, very strongish build. So I think loose head should suit him, and he just needs time in the position, and I see him doing a very good job there tonight.
Okay, AJ Witten, let's have a look at number 8. A lot of talk about there. If you look at the stats, Xavier Rush has those to back him, but at the end of the day, do they stack up in the wash? I mean, Mosi Tuiali'i looked very good for the Crusaders.
Well, he's had a defined season as Tuiali'i, and I think the reason that he's in this probable side is his impact. He comes on, he makes the yards, quite a devastating player, likes to offload, so I think they like that. We've had a long time in coming, we've had a man off the back who can gain those valuable yards. Xavier, on the other hand, is very consistent, a structured player. Probably hasn't had the best season behind a forward pack that hasn't been dominant this year with the Blues, but let's see what he can produce on the night, and he's a man of many experience, and he's been out of the All Black side for a long time, and he may have a taste for it tonight.
Okay, AJ, blind side there. Ruben Thorne and Jerry Collins, and of course Newby and the Possible. We can have a look at how they've sort of scrubbed up during the year. I mean, per game, 3 runs with the ball, metres made. Collins an advantage there. Tackle's pretty even. I mean, she's a pretty even meltdown there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the most important thing there again is the ball in hand. And Jerry Collins, we know, is quite devastating, quite a bruising player. He likes that confrontation. Ruben, again, is plays to a pattern. Very good at what he does. Tidies up a lot of loose ball in situations. And it's going to be a game of two halves. And again, whoever takes the opportunity.
Congratulations, AJ, for being the first person to get that out this season. Radio Bull lock. I'm quite looking forward to the bruising Keith Robinson coming up against the bruising Jono Gibbs. That'll be a good battle of the two chiefs.
Yeah, well, of course, teammates normally. I think Keith Robinson deserves his opportunity. He's a bit of a hard man. He does a lot of hard work. Jono Gibbs, on the other hand, of course, a lot of experience at loose forward as well as lock, but largely has played lock in recent games. But interesting stats here, aren't they? And, I think Keith Robinson will have the edge. But for me, Jono Gibbs, he could be a bit of a bolter in the side. He's got experience at loose forward play as well as locking. So, and of course, he's a leader. He offers that extra bit, being a leader. So it's going to be an intriguing battle.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. Keith Robinson up against Jono Gibbs. Right now, let's have a look at some of the chances from the possibles.
Linton Military Camp on the outskirts of Palmerston North has for the last week been the training base for the Possible squad. And in front of some of New Zealand's finest, many players, including Chiefs captain Jono Gibbs, were exposed to the All Black dream for the very first time.
It sort of almost smoldered out there a little while back. And, this year my goal was just to be a contender again, to be in the frame. And I've achieved that by being here, but now you're actually here. You see some of the guys walking around. And, I want to be involved.
Another keen to be involved is the North Harbour excitement machine, Nick Evans, who's been thrilling the Carisbrook crowd with the Highlanders.
It's big, yeah. I mean, ever since a youngster, I've always wanted to be an All Black, and especially with those old guys around here now. I've seen a lot of those guys playing trials and things like that. And, being a trial, it's one step closer to the ultimate dream, and that's being an All Black. So, it's a big step, and I'm willing to take it.
Graham Henry, Wayne Smith and Steve Hansen, the new All Blacks Brains Trust, have had plenty of help this week, with many former All Blacks in camp helping out, including 3 Sports' very own Frank Bunce, who, amongst other pearls of wisdom, was able to explain the mystique of the famous black jersey.
It's tradition, so many guys, so many great players have been before, and a lot will come after. These guys are there now. You're in there, and these guys are, as you say, aspiring All Blacks. They're here. This week is spent trying to become an All Black. Even guys who have been All Blacks, they're still trying. It's not set. There's no team picked yet. So come Wednesday with the announcement, it's all up for grabs.
It's up there, something that I've sort of thought about, since I've been a kid. But I mean, just being here, and I just want to sort of just perform and do the best that I can. And if end of the day, if I don't make it, then there's always another year.
Obviously, I think Tana's in, and he's confirmed that. But for us, we've still got every chance. And talking to the probable guys, they're still saying that they're not guaranteed a place. So I think both sides of the camp understand the point of view.
I didn't really expect this at all, and opportunities came my way, and I think I took most of them for Super 12. And now that I've got this opportunity here, I just want to grasp it with both hands, and it's going to be a big ask, but I'm looking forward to it.
If I didn't want to be an All Black, I probably wouldn't be playing rugby anymore. I think when that stage comes, I think you'll see me hang up my boots. But I love my rugby. I love playing rugby, and I achieve when I'm out there. I want to be the best that I can be, and by making that the trial team and also the All Blacks, it's a buzz for me still.
Don't you love it, eh? Plenty of pressure and nerves in that second 15 to grab that one possible chance of becoming an All Black tonight. Stay with us on 3 Sport as we continue the countdown to kick off at 9. We'll have a chat with Kirky and Curtin about their thoughts, who can make a dream come true as a Bulger in black or to be a standout star in the All Black trial. Mighty Mosi is here, man on the mission or what, trying to grab that number 8 jersey for the All Blacks tonight. Welcome back to your home with the All Blacks, absolutely free on 3. Of course, we're counting down to the Lions tour next year. We're looking forward to that one, but tonight we're counting down to the All Black trial. Now, a lot of pressure on the Possibles tonight. Are they playing for a place in the All Blacks, or for a spot on the bench, or for a spot on that squad of 26? Graham Henry has come out and basically said the split's going to be 15 forwards and 11 backs. To talk about the number 10 jersey, here's Hamish Mackay with Earl Curtin. Of course, Hamish, the word has come out from Graham Henry. He wants Carlos Spencer to be more like a conductor this year rather than an entertainer.
Yeah, Clint, well, I think that Carlos Spencer can be both the conductor and the entertainer. Yes, joined by former All Black first 5'8" and All Black selector Earl Curtin. Carlos Spencer is a bit of an enigma. He polarises people, but at the end of the day, I mean, he has the goods. What are you looking for from him?
Well, I mean, I really want to see him being able to take the pressure, even up tight, and hopefully Major might get into his face and make it a real test. But I thought he was aptly described in this morning's Dominion, where they called Carlos has flawed brilliance. I thought it was a wonderful way, aptly of describing him. That's exactly what he is. And I think he is, Henry's obviously wrapped in him, and they're going to play him. And obviously, too, with coaches and selectors, Henry feels he can get to him. And that's going to be the key to it. And so he should be allowed to do that, being the All Black selector.
Right, we're talking about in the face. We've got Tui Tupo against Carter, but fullback is an interesting one. Nick Evans against Mills Muliaina. Evans is impressed.
Well, it won't be. He has all year. He's very quick and he's played very well. I think probably because of his size, he's probably a first 5'8". I really do believe that. Quite a gassy first 5'8" too. But I think the thing that will show up tonight is, can he actually defend? If the Shadow Test team gets a roll on, is he going to turn around and make big tackles? We know Muliaina often can, and he can put the big hits in. And what they'll be wanting is to see if he can take the high ball under pressure and the big hits. Then he could be one of the floaters in the back line.
Right, Earl Curtin, will hear more from Earl Curtin at half-time and full-time of the All Black trial. Right now we're going to join Clint with an old teammate of Earl's, Ian Kirkpatrick.
Yes, and joining us now is former All Black captain Ian Kirkpatrick. A lot of talk about the loose forwards, Kirky. How do you see and what are you watching for in that battle at number 6 and number 8 tonight?
Well, first of all, at number 8, we're just going to watch Tueli to see if he can make the step up. It's a huge step up from Super 12 to this level. So the question is, can he do it? At 6, Jerry Collins and Reuben Thorne going head-to-head. Probably not a lot in it, but I would say Jerry Collins probably got the edge at the moment. But look for the bolter in Craig Newby. I think he could make it.
And watch out for Ian Kirkpatrick analysing the performance of the players tonight in the All Black trial. Let's take a look as they line up head-to-head. Remember the Probables, that's the All Black Shadow Test 15. They're playing in black tonight up against the Possibles in white.
At fullback, Mills Muliaina was last year's incumbent. He's the probable facing the Highlanders and North Harbour flyer Nick Evans. On the right wing, Doug Howlett came to life with a couple of sizzling tries in Super 12. Normally a left winger, Caleb Ralph swaps wings for the Possibles. At centre, the new All Blacks captain, Tana Umanga, faces the Auckland hot stepper, who got flown in as cover for Tana at the World Cup, Ben Atinga. Daniel Carter is the probable second 5'8". He's had a wonderful Super 12, but he faces the fearless Sam Tuitupo, whose bone-jarring defensive work has been invaluable for the Blues. Joe Rokothoko is the probables left winger. He faces a star of the Chiefs Super 12 campaign, not eligible till next season, but great to watch, Sitiveni Sivavatu. Carlos Spencer is at first 5'8" for the probables, facing possible Aaron Major. Watch for Major to trade places with fullback Nick Evans in the second half. At number 9, it's the usual battle of the halfbacks, Justin Marshall and Byron Kelleher. Both will likely wear black this season. Number 8 sees two new candidates facing off. Mosi Tuiali'i is an Aucklander who went to the Crusaders for Super 12 because of the guy he competes against tonight, Xavier Rush, who's been capped just once back in 1998. In the 7 jersey, Richie McCaw recovers from injury, so Marty Holler is a worthy substitute. He faces the Highlanders' Josh Blackie. On the blind side, Jerry Collins will play the first half for the Probables. Then Reuben Thorne will take over. They face another Highlander, Craig Newby. 2 Chiefs players face off at lock. Keith Robinson turns out for the Probables, facing his captain, John O'Gibbs. In the other locking position, Chris Jack is recovering from concussion, while Brad Thorne wrestles with the decision to stay or return home to Brisbane. He faces Highlander and previous All Black Simon Mailing. At tight head, it's Greg Somerville competing with the experienced Carl Heyman. Kevin Maialamu was the All Blacks' first choice hooker last year, but injury resulted in a quiet Super 12, while the Hurricanes' Andrew Hoare shone in an underperforming team. And Deacon Manu wins the Probables loosehead berth, competing with Case Muse. On the bench for the Probables, front rowers Darren Whitcomb and Tony Woodcock, flanker Angus McDonald, Highlanders and Southland halfback Jimmy Cowan, and backs Andrew Mertens and Hosea Gare. Possible reserves are Corey Flynn, Carl Hoff, Ali Williams, Sione Loaki, Chiefs halfback Isaac Boss, and backs Brent Ward and Tani Tuipolotu.
One of the other tough questions is how do you actually stand out in an All Black trial when A, you have to fit into a team pattern, so where does individual flair come in? Well, it's certainly a lot easier to improve your chances when you start off playing for the Probables.
For the Probables, home for the last week has been here at Palmerston North Institute of Rugby. And under the steely eye of new All Black Supremo Graham Henry, the squad have been put through their paces. One player revelling in his new environment is the Chiefs' versatile front rower, Deacon Manu.
Once I did start playing and watching the All Blacks play when I was a young boy, you know, it was pretty special. And it's always been a dream since I've been playing. And to just be given the opportunity to go again and have a crack at that jersey, it's pretty special.
Another to impress this season is the dynamic crusader Mose Tuiali'i, who, like everybody involved in tonight's trial, has always aspired to wearing black.
It's pretty big, eh? So it's been a dream of mine since I've touched a rugby ball. So now I'm here, so got to take my opportunities. Everyone has a destiny, so pretty nervous to be honest. But then again, whatever happens, happens. So I guess Wednesday will show whether, you know, you're on a path to your destiny or what. So yeah, whatever happens, happens.
Packing down at hooker tonight between Manu and Greg Somerville is the Hurricanes' try-scoring machine, hooker Andrew Hoare, who has already worn black and he wants more.
Yeah, that's pretty much where you put your boots on and play Super 12. And that earlier, yeah, always aiming to get to the top level, and yeah, it's been pretty hard. That's got me real keen really to get out there, and I haven't actually won a test match yet, so hopefully I can get in a team and get a win and sort a few things out.
It'll be quite a nervous time, but I guess by that time I've done everything I could in my powers to achieve an All Black jersey, and if I don't quite hit the mark, then at least I know I gave it everything, and it'll just be up to the selectors to decide by then.
But now let's leave the final word to 3 Sports' Frank Butts, who well knows what the selectors will be looking for tonight.
You have to do yourself justice, but you also have to be able to play within the team. And I guess, you know, if you do your job well, and play well in your position doing what you're supposed to do, then your team will play well. If everyone does that, your team will play well. But you don't want guys who are just out there. You soon get found out. If you're out there, it becomes obvious that you're out there for yourself and you're not going to last.
So it's Ua Tanumanga, captain of the Probables, up against Jono Gibbs, captain of the Possibles. Stick around, team. Kick-off is next on 3 Sport with the All Black trial.
I know we're a hard team to follow, but you do it week after week, year after year, and I hope you go away from here happy, just like us.
There's no easy way to be here. There is no easy way. It's always work hard and don't be put off by challenges, because that's what makes you grow, and that's what makes you who you are. If you can rise to those challenges and you can overcome anything you want if you work hard enough.
It's 9:30 Thursday on 3.
So standing by for kick-off. There he is, numero uno in the referee stakes, Barry O'Brien. And with me in the commentary box, Mark the Bull Allen and AJ Witten. Big night for 44 of the country's best.
Well, I think the expressions on the face said it all, Hamish. These guys are very tense. It's a huge match, a lot of individual battles that are going to decide who's going to be in the All Blacks and who's going to miss out. So a huge game for all these young men out here tonight.
AJ Witten, they certainly had trials back in your days. What were they like?
Well, nice of you to remember. If you're in a good side, Hamish, they're a great value because you got carried along with the members of your side. But if you're battling in the opposition and it wasn't your day, you certainly stood out, and it was a very uncomfortable afternoon out there in the cold. So the team that gets dominance, and as Bull said, is going to start up front, that's the team you want to be playing on.
So Carlos Spencer gets it underway. The Probables in black, the Possibles in white. First touch for Mills and Muliaina. Auckland fullback. Pretty quiet start with the Super 12 for Muliaina. First touch out in centre field. Brad Thorne. No Chris Jack or Richie McCaw in the black side tonight. And not handled. First touch is a poor one from Keith Robinson.
We'll play the first knock on. White black, white scrum.
Okay, Bull, let's have a look at this from an analysis point of view. We are looking at 3 for the black side. Greg Somerville against 1. The loose head prop on the far side of this shot, Case Muse, to see if he can make the step up as a loose head prop on the international stage.
And also, of course, Deacon Manu against Carl Heyman here. That's going to be an intriguing battle as well. That's the side we see here. And by goodness, set pieces are such a vital part building into the English Test, aren't they? We need to dominate. Well, first blood to the Possibles, and away they go.
Xavier Rush, the stats tell us he makes plenty of ground with ball in hand. Just short of the 22. Josh Blackie, of course, the open side flanker. Tui to Bolt. Tinga, there at centre three-quarter. Here's Blackie. Good with ball in hand. Taken on by Kevin Mayalamu. The Possibles open up the shadow 15 in the opening minutes, just a metre short. Here they go. Case Muse waiting, the feet working. Oh, nice run in there, and all started back with Xavier Rush. Mayalamu involved.
Yeah, Josh Blackie had a couple of dabs, and Mialamu, who's had a lot of problems this year with injuries, hasn't played a lot of rugby. He just carved up the Probable team, didn't he? There was gaping gaps here, and he exposed them badly. I thought he was going to slide across the line, but he came up just short. But Josh Blackie, he had a couple of dabs in this movement, and then the pick and go. Mialamu, we know he's good at this, and he's got devastating pace for the first 5 metres. And the infringement took place there.
Yeah, but looking at, there's no defence there, is there, Bill? I mean, they look pretty ragged there. They've broken the advantage there, and as you mentioned, Mialamu, he needs a big game. Injured most of the season. He'd be pretty disappointed with his form in the Super 12, and this is a game made for him. Nothing to lose on the outside looking in, and he's going to grab every opportunity.
So Tana Umaga, the new All Black skipper, captain of this Probable side tonight. It is the Shadow 15. Plenty to say. His leadership certainly will get its first test here tonight.
I'd suggest his heart rate will be beating pretty heavily at the moment. They're a little bit fortuitous not to be staring at 7-0 down now.
Kevin Mayalamu looks as though he might have been in the gym a little bit over the off-season. Didn't see too much of him during Super 12. Darren Whitcomb, there's the bench. Young Luke McAllister on there. There's a bloke who's not too young. Andrew Mertens, Angus McDonald to his right. This is the Probables bench. Jimmy Cowan, Tony Woodcock. Keep an eye on him. He's a good young loose head prop.
Well, we're talking about boulders. We should have probably mentioned Andrew Mertens. I mean, that fine game he had in Canberra. He certainly re-injected himself into the selection spotlight, didn't he? Yep. And still has a lot to offer rugby in this country.
Well, I don't know what the delay is here, but it's...
looks like a kicking tee, struggling to find one, and here it comes.
Struggling to find a kicking tee. Well, they didn't have any cheer girls or song and dance before the game, and they don't even have a kicking tee. Well, we've got one now. There's Corey Flynn, one of the reserves for the Possibles, the man in white, who don't have too much to lose tonight.
Corey Flynn looked a bit uncomfortable sitting sideline there, Hamish. I don't know if you noticed, but he had a Blues tracksuit on. Didn't look too comfortable in that, mate, did he?
Goodness me. So Nick Evans, North Harbour's Nick Evans, strong performer in the Super 12 for the Highlanders, has this kick, a kick of about 24 metres on the angle. In comes Evans, he stumped that pretty well. So it's the Possibles who have the early lead in the All Black trial. After that nice break by Kevin Mayalamu, the Possibles lead the Probables by 3 points to 0.
Yeah, it's just a sort of start that you see in a trial, isn't it? Taking the opportunities. The White have got nothing to lose. They are playing against a Shadow Test 15, all intents and purposes. And we did see the three wise men come up here trying to get a bit of information out of them, but a lot of smiles, but they were very tight-lipped.
So Carlos Spencer with the restart. 3 points to 0. The Possibles lead the Probables. Taken down by Ben Artinga. New Zealand age grade rep right through the years. Artinga showed some promising signs for the Blues and joined the All Black World Cup team last year in Melbourne. Back for Evans. He gets the hooping right foot away and into touch. Chance to have a look at the lineouts. No Chris Jack tonight. You would think that he would be part and parcel of an All Black 15 who take on England in just 11 days' time.
Yeah. Wide on the line, fellas.
Paul Allen take on England in just 11 days' time.
Well, I tell you, this is not bad preparation, Hamish, because I believe this game's going to be a lot tighter than the Super 12 game. They'll be certainly looking a lot more closely at set pieces and defensive patterns. I think it'll be crucial going into the English test.
Good target at the front there, Keith Robinson. That's a shocker of a pass from Marshall. Play on, taken by Umaga. Forward, clearly forward.
Playing the scrum.
So a little nerve, a few nerves starting to creep in, and once again, Bull will have a look at the scrum. Last one was penalty against the
no ball yet.
The Probables, the black side. So just to look on that far side.
And the Possibles have the feed, and what they'll be looking for here, Hamish, is a good solid scrum that's not moving.
We won't have a scrum. We're going to do
The
that.
Probables will be trying to wheel a possible scrum, and what the Possibles need is a nice straight scrum so they can function off the back for Xavier Rush.
Solid as a rock, Case Muse in the unfamiliar position of loose head prop as Kelleher puts the kick in behind and runs it into touch. Right wing side of the field, just short of the 22.
And that's exactly the sort of scrum that is going to promote players tonight, particularly the props.
Yeah, nothing fancy, was it there? Just really strong set piece. Look, there's no pressure there by Xavier Rush. Plenty of room. And look at Gallagher there. No one on him. Under no pressure to kick the ball and gains a nice 30-40 metres down.
Exciting line out, but it's claimed.
Stay White, stay.
Claimed by the Probables, the black team, the shadow All Black 15. And Paddy O'Brien says we'll take the line out. Free sport. Hamish Mackay, Mark the Bull Allen and AJ Witten, your commentary team.
Black, same space, please.
Carlos Spencer, you heard Earl Curtin before the match say that Graham Henry wants him to be the conductor more than the entertainer. Hasn't had an opportunity so far tonight. All the ball's been with the Possibles.
Playing the scrum. Nolly's lying there, it won't.
It just looks like from the Blacks' point of view, the probable side is just a lack of being together. Just shows they look a wee bit tentative, just trying to, find those combinations. They've only had, 3 or 4 days together, get these combinations working and not quite gelling at the moment. They'll be in the back of their minds. We're not quite getting it together, guys. Do they push it a bit further? Liable to make a few more mistakes.
No, up we come.
Well,
up we come.
Early asset at scrum time coming on from the Possibles team. The Possibles team who've been prepared by Colin Cooper and Ian Foster. Certainly a good couple of rugby brains there.
And of course, their talents are on display here too, because if they put this team together well, it enhances their reputations, doesn't it?
Xavier Rush off the back to Sam Tui Tupo, Slam and Salmon. Keller off to Mealamu. Back it comes to Aaron Major, playing number 10, first 5'8 tonight, Aaron Major. Hasn't been at his best for quite some time with knee and groin problems, Aaron Major. Josh Blackie is the open side flanker for the Possibles.
And he's been impressive so far. Let's face it, the white team's been on the front foot so far in this match. And he's been involved in a lot of play. Good chasing up from the Aaron Major kick. But he just got his hands a bit far out in front of him and wasn't able to get under that one.
Off the back, first real touch for Mosi Tuiali'i. He gets driven back, maintains the possession. Picked up by Jerry Collins into the tackle of Keller. Legs pumping from Jerry Collins up towards halfway. Marshall off to Marty Holler. Breaks the first line of defence, pops it up to Mills Muliaina. Tuiali'i driving in on him, up over halfway now. Back for Andrew Hall, twisting and turning. John O'Gibbs makes the tackle, 10-metre line, possible territory. Another shocker of a pass from Marshall. And a good tackle from Blackie on Holler. And, they might have robbed this one away, they have. Kelleher eyes a bit of a gap. Chance out here for Bernard Tinger, who puts the kick in behind. Umaga going back for this with pressure on him from Evans. Oh, nice work with Doug Howland. Howland out from his own line, pushes off Sivavatu. Now he frees the pass across to Mosi Tuiali'i, who runs back into the heavy traffic. Marshall, Howland pops it up to Joe Rokothoko. Just grabbed in the tackle by Craig Newby. Tuialii stepping back inside. Good tackle by Heyman. 22-metre line in the Probables territory. Free sport at Eden Park. Enjoying a return to an All Black trial. As Spencer gets the kick away and into touch.
Well, the Possibles won marks there for defensive, didn't they? They really took it to the Probables team, and the Probables just couldn't get out of their 22. So a touch of class here from Tana Umanga. Look at the experience of the player, and Dougie Howlett in a quiet Super 12. Good work rate from him, getting involved and backing up.
Play on.
One against the throw. It comes to
Let it go.
the Black team, who for all intents and purposes are the All Black team. But a turnover. Tui to Bow. Artinga. Sivavatu goes without it.
Lost forward White.
Lost forward just, well, the first time we've seen some nerves creep into the White Possible side, AJ, but certainly from the likes of Justin Marshall, we've seen some very uncharacteristic errors early on.
It looks as though they're just starting their season again, doesn't it? You know, the passing, that's not a bad pass there, and Jerry Collins has taken up, but the defence is very tight. Not a lot of room there for the players, and probably going as individuals at the moment. They really need to be in a collective group, and we see they're just pushing the pass. Sivivatu, really the first touch of the ball, and it does show, but the Probables had their best period of play by taking the ball up that pick and go, didn't they, Ball? And that's where they look quite dominant. They gained some advantage, but just some poor passing and communication at the moment is letting them down.
Something I'd like to pick up too that I noticed in that replay, Aaron Major ripping the ball out of Jerry Collins' arms. You don't see that very often. And Aaron Major, he's certainly a man that's on trial tonight, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a very versatile player, and it's interesting he's playing at first 5'8", and if he performs well in there, he will certainly make the All Black team. I think he will, but it's just what position will he make it in?
Well, Andrew Burton's, Ruben Thorne, a couple of the players on the bench for the Black team. Aaron Major, he is a classy player. There's a suggestion he's lost a yard or two of his top end gas, but he can play from first 5'8" out to centre, and that surely will be an advantage when it comes to naming a squad of 26, of which 11 will be backs.
Right, lock, stay out for a minute. Front rows only. Front rows only. I want your lock closer now. I'm going to take over for a while. Let's go. Right up close.
Now, we spoke about the Possible scrum having a nice, steady, straight scrum. Now it's up to the Probables to do the same.
Well, Deacon Manu, a bit of pressure on him from Carl Heyman on that occasion.
And it puts pressure on Tuialii at the back, doesn't it? As we've seen, unable to get away with good, clean ball there. Puts his team under pressure.
Spencer down to Sivivatu. Sitiveni Sivivatu playing in the trial tonight, but not available for All Black selection until next year. Well, until December. No good then, though, because there isn't any All Black rugby at that point. Jerry Collins just out from the 22. Blackie and Newby make the tackle. Marshall again, a bit of a floater, picked up nicely by Andrew Hoare. Turns it back inside to Mosi Tuialii. Marshall in support, up over the 10-metre line.
Let it go,
strong run from Justin Marshall. Here it is, Rakathoko digs in deep. Now they move it wide, across for Carter. Carter on for Muliaina. Umanga on the outside, pushes off one, and he's hammered across the touchline. Blackie, Tui Tapo getting across to make the tackle on the All Black skipper.
Wasn't it good to see them use the blind side? Not very often you see that. All started with Justin Marshall, but he did pop it up very nicely. Good support play there by Tuialii. Pops inside there here too to Marshall. And look at the strength of him. I mean, he's relishing that. One of the few times he's got the ball in his hands, and he sets up some nice second play. And the ball spun nicely, but just running out of room on the sideline to Umanga.
Tui Tapo grabbed a hold of Umanga. Oh, overthrow down the back for Holler. Tap back by Marshall. Oh! Big tackle, Sivivatu on Carter. Good tackle. The Wesley College man, Sitiveni Sivivatu, 2 years at Wesley College. 5 years in New Zealand, but still the IRB consider he's not, or hasn't met the residential qualifications.
Went forward off White. Black ball.
Black ball, attacking scrum.
Man, oh man, there's some bone-shattering tackles going, isn't there? Particularly from the Possibles team. They've really got some go forward in their defence, and they're making some huge hits. We saw the mistake here from the line out. Marty Holler does some good work. And watch for this one. Sitiveni Sivivatu absolutely nails Carter.
So the scrum just screws around. We'll have it again, says Paddy O'Brien. Carter knows all about that.
fellas, square and steady, over here.
Territory with the Possibles, 61% to 39. Possession though with the black team, the Probables, 2-1.
Well, at this stage, the Probables are struggling at scrum time. The Possibles are putting a bit of pressure on them. We're seeing the scrums resetting. Let's see what Paddy O'Brien says, but the white team's certainly putting the pressure on.
Guys, I understand it's a trial. I know what you're trying to do. 10 days from now, you're playing England. I know what the referee will do in that game if that happens. Sort it out for me, or I'll just go into penalty mode. I don't want to do that.
Well, what he's talking about, Paddy O'Brien, of course, Bull, is one-upmanship. They're having a crack, aren't they? Whereas if they do that in a test match, boring in or angling out, it'll be a different story. Carl Hoff is standing by, veteran All Black, on the bench tonight. In the back for Tui Ali'i. Oh, good pressure from Case Muse. Gives Somerville a good seeing to in that scrum. Umaga across to Muliaina, tries to get on the outside of Nick Evans, one of the more interesting head-to-heads tonight. Spencer. Cross for Jerry Collins. Taken down by Case Muse, the tackler.
He let it go, he's fine. That'll do, Black.
Another black scrum.
Forward. Just a wee bit scrappy there, isn't it? In that second phase ball there by the Blacks. I didn't know, as you say, the controlling position, but not actually getting the numbers or the hit there to get the advantage for the ball for Justin Marshall, and then ended up very untidy, and they'd be disappointed at the end of that play.
Yeah, AJ, Jerry Collins has taken the ball up a lot of times, but he is guilty of getting isolated, isn't he? He needs to probably stay on his feet a bit longer.
Well, he's got to have the Marshall talk to him, say, look, you know, take it up, you've got support or you haven't, leave it, let's reset, get some numbers with you, because this ball is hard to get hold of. And what they're saying is don't go on your own, you'll get it ripped. We've seen that a couple of times, and they say the first time really they've been in the 22 and they're going to turn the ball over.
So Xavier Rush, he'd be pretty happy with the way the white side is going, skipped by John O'Gibbs. Jerry Collins getting the attention.
Yep.
Chance for the black team. Greg Somerville with a bit of work to do up against Case Muse, who's going pretty well at loose head prop.
Wait for my call.
Sam Tui Tapose made some good tackles.
Use it, Black.
Oh, once again, Muse, Hamish, absolutely screwing that scrum at his will.
Turnover ball at the scrum, and that's Case Muse doing the job there.
Yeah, Case Muse, Somerville, regarded as the best tight end in this country, is really getting a hard time at the moment from Muse.
It's quite funny because there's a lot more weight in that black pack, and the locks are about 15, 16 kilos heavier than the counterparts.
All they're doing is spinning it around, AJ, and putting a lot of pressure on the black team.
Stay, Black,
Rush
stay.
off the back here for Kelleher. Away for Aaron Major. Gets the kick away over the head of Doug Howlett. Beautiful kick by Aaron Major. That's an absolute Bobby Dazzler. 52 metres down the track. Sort of stuff your forwards love.
Yeah, I'll just keep bringing them.
Well, I think he's obviously playing for a place in that 26, as we know, but obviously with Nick Evans coming on the scene, a goal kicker, fullback, first 5'8", obviously Aaron Major's you know, relishing an opportunity to show his wares, but he certainly needs a good trial this evening.
Certainly know what he's capable of, but injuries have restricted him somewhat.
There's a tick by John O'Gibbs, one against the head. Sorry, Hamish, that was brilliant work from Gibbs.
Good run from Maialamu. In the end, Spencer drags him down. Josh Blackie goes without it. Picked up. Umaga gets it away to Mills Muliaina. Nice run up the centre by the incumbent All Black fullback, Marty Holler. Muse is the tackler. Back for Marshall. Brad Thorne. Across to Andrew Hoare. Spencer. Wide to Muliaina, and a bit of opportunity here with a bit of space, maybe for Rokotoko, but just lost forward there. And advantage to the Possibles.
Interesting at the moment, guys, that Carlos Spencer is just distributing as opposed to running. As soon as he gets the ball, he's letting it fly, trying to give his outside some opportunities. So maybe that's instructions, or he's just feeling the way of the land at the moment, but interesting style from him.
Well, that was the call from Earl Curtin. That's what he said. Graham Henry has told him, you're the conductor, you're not the entertainer. And at the moment, he is doing just that, conducting.
Be disappointed there, you know, the great jump there by John O'Gibbs. He read that there from Jerry Collins, going deep, and once again, you know, the question mark is on the Hookers.
Right, now let's have a look at some of the second phase play. Ian Kirkpatrick is our match analyst.
There's no real trend happening, but we've just noticed quick second phase ball with tight confrontation on the pass. One pass confrontation, so it's tight out there. Quick ball bang.
Quick ball bang is the call there. There's been plenty of that.
Crouch and hold only.
That might go down in commentary legendary status.
Now we know the
Quick
white
ball bang.
scrum's doing the damage on the Probables ball. Let's see how steady they are on their own ball, because that's a test. You come under more pressure when you're feeding the scrum, because the hooker obviously has to strike for the ball, so that takes one of his feet off the ground and puts more pressure on your scrum with the feet.
That's right, Bull. Your three-man front row effectively becomes 2.5 on your ball.
But there was an excellent scrum from the Possibles again.
Tui Tapo, he is very good at that as a target for his forwards. And back it comes to Major. Charged down by Collins. Is this the first try coming up for Jerry Collins? It is.
Well, they're the sort of things that put ticks by your name to make All Black sides. Jerry Collins, just a bit of individual brilliance there. Charged it down, chased it up and scored it. Superb play from the Probables blindside flanker. Been involved in a lot of play tonight. Just charging through. Major's kick was very low. Collins just had a quick look around, couldn't believe his luck, and backed his gas.
You'd be disappointed then if you're a forward. You've done all that hard work, good scrum. I've mentioned numerous times tonight, Bull. And then I think Major was just a wee bit lazy, took it casually and paid the price with 5 points.
Yeah, maybe Collins come just outside his lateral vision, but the kick was certainly starting very low from Major, and Collins was all over it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like white on rice.
So, interesting here. Carter has the kicking duties. And he comes, he slots it. So it's the black team, the Probables, leading the Possibles by 7 points to 3.
Boxing, the Fight Club, 8:30 Saturday.
Back underway, 18 minutes gone in the All Black trial for season 2004. Just 11 days out from a clash with the world champions England. And the country's best on display tonight, staking their claim for the black jersey.
And just talking about England, Hamish, we should be very well prepared for that game. Obviously, all the coaching panel, Graham Henry, Steve Hansen, Wayne Smith, all been involved in the Northern Hemisphere. They've got mentors involved with the team this year that have played over there, so there should be no excuse for not being well prepared for that encounter.
And there should be no excuse for a lack of skill tonight. Conditions are pretty good. Oscar Kitely's down sideline. Oscar, things haven't changed too much. It's not too dewy.
No, Hamish, not at all. And the crowd's kind of pretty quiet. I think they all came here expecting something pretty tense, and that's certainly what they're getting. It's funny watching the team in white. They look like the All Whites. Maybe we can send them to the Nations Cup to beat up the Australians. But they came out very focused, and they're actually out on the field like 5 minutes before kickoff, just getting ready. So they really want to win tonight.
Yeah, the white team actually, to be fair, they're beating up on the black team at the moment. And certainly there's a bit of sorting out going on in their front row. Mosi Tuiali'i. Spencer again, he just shifts it wide into space. Caleb Ralph, the tackler on Mills Muliaina, will have the line out. 20 minutes gone, 7-3, the Probables, the black team, the Shadow All Blacks lead the Possibles. Rux and Morse, 2-1 in favour of the Probables.
Good spot tackle here from Caleb Ralph, Hamish. Just come in there and shut that movement down. The Possibles have really done their homework defensively thus far. Really getting up quick, cutting down the probable space.
Jono Gibbs, another good solid take by him in the middle. A land from Tiawa Mutu. One of Tiawa Mutu's more famous sons, along with the Finn brothers. Here it is at the back for Case Muse. This time, Major gets it away. Newby giving chase. Muliaina can't control it. Coming back for it, Doug Howlett. Nice covering from Howlett.
Yeah, showing all his class there, Doug. You know, he's covering his wing. He knows Muliaina hasn't had one of his better seasons. I think he's a wee bit out of form, maybe losing a wee bit of confidence. We know he's very good with ball in hand and a bit of open space, but really no pressure on him. His body angle there was nowhere really to take the ball, and he paid the price by losing it. But Doug Howlett, the man on the spot, did the tidy up work for him.
There's Xavier Rush. Major. Caleb Ralph coming in off the wing into the tackle of Holler and Spencer. It is very tight. There's 4 points in it. Down for Joe Rokotoko. And Muliaina gets the kick away. Certainly an All Black trial is taking place here. Crowd pretty quiet, just I guess just sitting there analysing their favourite players.
Yeah, we speak about players playing their way into this All Black side, Hamish, but also players who don't have a good display here can play their way out. And obviously in a couple of positions, guys teetering one way or another, so it's absolutely crucial they get it right if they want to be named in that squad.
Down to Keith Robinson. Lineouts haven't been tidy. Craig Newby takes this one in. Chalaha. Major Tui Tapo. Ben Artinga picked up by Tui Tapo after he threw the wild sort of pass that was always going to be hard to pull in for Artinga. Short side across to Sivavatu. Must release, that's the call from Paddy O'Brien. Paul Honnis on that far side, the touch judge.
Still not out. Stay there.
Rucks and Mauls, the Possibles creeping back into those. Possession, though, still in favour of the black team, the Probables. Here's Josh Blackie. Mailing drives in on him. Major goes in and gets it, so to Sivavatu.
Number 2, get out of there. Get out.
Xavier Rush.
Hands up.
Will turnover here. Nope, they've just managed to retain it, the Possibles. Back for Callagher. Nick Evans. Good tackle on Tui Tapo, but he presents the ball back nicely. Evans. Major into the tackle of Andrew Hall with a bit of help from Carlos Spencer. Big Carl Heyman.
Let it go, let it go. White held in.
Not releasing. That's the goal. The black team get the penalty.
Good continuity there from the Possibles, AJ, but just let themselves down in the end.
Quick one taken. Muliaina runs into Tui Tupo. Not many get past him. Really solid tackling in there from Jerry Collins. In fact, a hint of a boot on the head. Don't know if that's necessary. Callagher. Well, it's all just getting a little bit messy, a little bit scrappy. I mean, the two captains really need to take these teams. I bet you the coaches want to go down there and slap a few ears and sort it out, because it is scrappy. It's losing not much pattern, not much shape.
Yeah, it certainly needs some structure, doesn't it? They're looking like teams that haven't spent much time together, which of course they haven't.
Well, in modern day terms, I suppose they have been sort of in camp for a week, I guess. But in terms of actual playing time, Newby. Now this guy could be one of the bolters. I know both my co-commentators think that he could be among the 26 named, Craig Newby. Great aerial skills.
And of course can cover blindside or open side.
Here's John O'Gibbs. Strong run from him. Back to Major. Kevin Mayalamu made a lovely break early in the game that led to that opening penalty for the Possibles. Sivavatu, Siravini Sivavatu, just 5 metres out. Callagher waits. Shows it. Byron Callagher. Up for Caleb Ralph. Pretty simple. Whoa. Opens it up. Try for Caleb Ralph. The Possibles in front. The B team lead the Shadow All Black 15 by 8 points to 7. Conversion to come. Now Tana Umanga will have plenty to say to his troops. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, Sivivatu, he made the initial break, and the key with this was they recycled the ball quickly. Case Muse trucks it up once again. We know what he's like near the line, likes to have a rumble or two. And Byron Keller, I don't think he could believe he's lucky. He got time and space and just pops it inside to Caleb Ralph, who's running an excellent line to score the try.
Yeah, good set up there by the forwards. You've got to take your head up to them. They set it up. But look at the holes. Where's the number 8 there? Where's the blindside Lucy to take that gap? That is a big concern. But the try had a sense of inevitability about it, didn't it? Continual regurgitating the ball over and over. They've got a mortgage on it at the moment, have this possible side. And in the end, they just ran out of numbers and scored what was really quite an easy try.
Is that a breakdown in defensive patterns because the communication's not there? They haven't spent the time doing it, perhaps? AJ?
I just think that they've got so much ball at the moment that all the forwards and some of the backs and side backs are committed to making those tackles. They just haven't seen the side of the pill.
So Nick Evans attempting to convert the try scored by Caleb Ralph. He has done. Evans the conversion. And it is the Possibles leading the Probables by 10 points to 7 on 3 Sport. Caleb Ralph there just jousting through for that try.
And he wouldn't get too many easier tries than that, would he?
A lot of hand laid on him. Pretty maligned sort of player, Caleb Ralph, but balanced athlete. Couldn't rule Ralph out of further calculations later on down the track as it comes to Tui Tupou from the restart.
Get off, tackler, get off.
Marty Holler is the tackler.
Get your hands out of there, Black. Come on, subtle stuff. Get out of it. Leave him, leave him.
Kelleher looks to get on with the job. They're not back 10. Leave him alone, says Paddy O'Brien. Umaga makes the tackle on Josh Blackie, 10-metre line.
Stay, Black.
And that's what we need to see from Umaga as a captain. His team's trailing now. He needs to get in there and lead from the front.
Charging run from Xavier Rush. Here's John O'Gibbs. Tui Tupou putting the kick in behind. Spencer's read this one pretty well. Bounces up. And he gets the kick away and into touch.
Well, there's something you don't quite often see of Sam Tuitupu making a kick. He's usually a very strong, abrasive runner. But I'm impressed with the Possibles doing the basics well, holding onto the pill, good breakdown, good momentum, getting the numbers, getting the ball back. Byron Keller is having an armchair ride there behind this forward pack at the moment, and plenty of time to set the back line alight and looking for some gaps and hopefully to break them up the middle.
Well, there's a couple of the war horses doing the work in there, Gibbs and Mailing. They are no mugs. They will be very close to further selection at a higher level as Gibbs takes it up. Tui Tupou. Knocked down, picked up by Howlett. Tried to get the miracle pass away. Double knock on. So it'll be a scrub for the black team, the Probables. The side who have trained together for a week under the All Black coaching team of Graham Henry. And look at that handling areas there, Bull. Just yeah, too many. 7.
And what I was going to say, mate, this is the one area where their troubles are starting. Because the Possibles are screwing it like they've just done there, and it's hard to get anything going from the base of the scrum when your scrum's screwed like that. It cuts down opportunities.
Spencer goes to the air. Evans way. Tapped back by Carter. To Keith Robinson. To Marshall. Marshall tries to heave it wide to Rakathoko. Muliaina in a bit of space. Mills Muliaina. They won't get to him. Opportunist try. Good following up by Daniel Carter. Knocked it back. Robinson was involved. Marshall. And good pace on the outside from Mills Muliaina.
Yeah, well, Justin Marshall, in fairness to the guys, thrown a couple of clangers tonight, but that was superb. It looked for a minute like it was going to be intercepted, but it found its mark. Carter doing some good work there. Robinson, good vision from him. And then the big speculator, but it found this man. And Muliaina, too much gas down the sideline for Aaron Major. Nice play, Probables.
Some nice sort of shepherding there by Carlos Spencer in support, and so good to see Mills Muliaina with the ball in hand. He is very dangerous, but I'd hesitate to say a rather fortuitous try again for the Probables. Wasn't anything structured out of set pieces or second phase, just the mistakes from the Possibles is letting this black side back in, and they'd be disappointed, you know, from a ball up in the air, not really anyone putting any pressure on the player, and just not contesting with the ball and giving him the opportunity.
I have to say that the Possibles have been feeling a little bit hard done by at the moment because they've been doing some very good things, particularly at set pieces.
Carter's conversion is successful. So the Shadow All Black 15 lead the Possibles somewhat against the run of play, some might say, by 14 points to 10.
See that pass? That could have easily been intercepted, but, you know, benefit of the doubt to Marshall. But first time we've seen Muliaina in some space, and he thoroughly, look at him, enjoyed that. He had the legs on Aaron Major and dotted down in the corner.
You're dead right, though, AJ. I think Major was checked a little bit there, wasn't he? But still, that's all what it's all about. You take your chances.
Stay here, stay here.
Spencer, big wide pass. Carter putting the kick straight down to Nick Evans. Evans with the kick and regather, gets the pass back in field, might have gone into touch.
Oscar, is there much communication down there with the skippers or with the forwards? It looks pretty quiet down there at the moment.
Yeah, actually there's not much actually at all, AJ. It's interesting, even when they've been scoring the tries, there's not much emotion from the bench. I guess that's what happens when you know New Zealand's going to win.
Get off, Black. Stay, Black, stay.
Back it comes for Major. Tuita Paul. Carter solid on the tackle. Kelleher gets away from Jerry Collins. Keith Robinson, though, snaffles it for the black team.
Stay white.
Spencer gets the kick away downtown to Evans. Sitiveni Sivavatu. Man who started out with Counties Manukau in the second division. These days a chief. Evans turns it back into Craig Newby. Runs into Brad Thorne. Jono Gibbs on Andrew Hoare.
Well, look, I've been impressed with Jono Gibbs, doing a lot of work around the fringes as well as his line-out work and really leading from the front.
And Bully makes a yard or two, doesn't he, every time he gets his lips on it.
Oh, he's making more than a yard or two, isn't he, Hamish? He's making 5, 6, 7, 10 metres at a time.
Sorry to interrupt, Hamish. There seems to be a bit of concern over Carlos. He's gone down in that last tackle.
Well, certainly one of the white team is down in a heap. Aaron Major is the guy who is in trouble in back play. Come to him in a minute. Evans. Caleb Ralph turns it down to Sivavatu, who looks pretty dangerous every time he touches it. Winger, position of real concern for New Zealand rugby. When you think of what the Wallabies have got to choose from, New Zealand rugby is in turmoil on the wing.
I think, though, Hamish, that it's a good call having a young guy like him that could be a player of the future in this country get involved in the game. Obviously, can't be picked now, but it's good that he gets the experience.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. You know, people were talking about what sort of message does it send to young wingers in this country. Well, the message is get your act together, play better, and claim your place in the trial. Simple.
And one thing he is doing is the simple things well. We see, he's very strong in the upper thigh there, and he's made the advantage, and really you're not quite sure what he's going to do next. He breaks the tackle, he looks for the support, and I think he can develop into an exciting prospect. With Roko Thoko there, they certainly have a dearth of talent that's available to the All Black selectors, but just be a bit disappointed with the possibles again, controlling the ball for long periods of time and just turning it over at the wrong occasion.
Wretched run of injuries for Aaron Major. He certainly was way below his best.
Someone lost a mouth guard
at the World Cup.
Just wait, guys, waiting for his injury.
So Aaron Major just giving himself a minute or two to think about this, but he'll be out of it. It'll be Nick Evans to go to first 5-8, where he played well for North Harbour in the NPC last season, so he is very familiar with the position. There's his North Harbour teammate Craig Newby. Replacement player in the 15 jersey, well, coming on to play fullback, will be Brent Ward, Hurricanes man, one of the stars of the Auckland NPC side in recent times. But Aaron Major, that's a sorry sight. Gee, it's only 12 months ago, not even 12 months ago. There's Brent Ward about to come into the action. He deserves a place in the trial. Very solid footballer. Keith Robinson, Spencer, Umanga with a kick in behind. Muliaina giving chase. Oh, Muliaina, good pace from Muliaina. He looked as though he had dragged off Caleb Ralph for a moment there, but it knocked on and goal by Black. Steve Walsh is going to overrule that. White knocked it on. Yep.
5 metre Black.
Great little kick here from Tana Umanga. And Muliaina, he was working hard against Caleb Ralph. That was a great little battle, but Ralph, he did very well to keep him out there. Good stuff from him.
Okay, attacking scrum for the black team, the Shadow All Black 15.
And Hamish, this is an area in a test match, a tight test match, where you have to get it 100% right.
Right, so what we're looking for here is Greg Somerville on the tight head side. We do not want the black scrum screwing towards the touchline. Unless Motsi Tuiali'i is going to drive off the back in that very narrow space.
Well, if anyone's got to go forward, it's got to be Somerville, because otherwise we'll be heading to the blind side.
Tane Tuipulotu is into the game. The Auckland and Hurricanes play. Gets a bit confusing, all these draft players, doesn't it?
White, I want you to get your binding up. You've got to bind, number one.
Well, that's against Case Muse, not binding.
Scrum again. You've got to get your bind over.
They're going to take the scrum. They want to sort it out where it all begins and ends, the front row.
This is a big acid test for Greg Somerville here. He needs to keep the scrum steady. He's got to anchor it. Case Muse will be trying to work it to the sideline, so it cuts down room for the black team to move.
Yeah, I reckon there's a wee bit of pride here. They could have gone for the line-up, but I think the front rowers said, no, we want this scrum. We've been under a bit of pressure here, said the front rowers, and they said, right, let's put it down here, let's sort it out.
Well, Somerville's got big Brad Thorne behind him, who's a big man, so they'll be looking to anchor this one.
Stay, White, stay.
See, if they go open side here, that's not from where you'd want to do it. The scrum screwing like that. It just puts your backs on the back foot as it was screwed towards the touchline. Here's Jerry Collins, hammered by Xavier Rush, turnover ball. Tui Tapo takes the pass from Newby and puts the kick downfield, way downtown, nobody home. Sivavatu coming at 100 mile an hour. Spencer knocks it back, picked up by Howland, who just shakes off Tui Tapo. And there's numbers here. Rakathoko up the middle, Joe Rakathoko. There were numbers to burn to the left, but they went back to the right. Now they come to the left. Spencer has a bit of a run for the first time tonight, I think. Marshall, Tuiali'i, Keith Robinson.
Keith Robinson starting to
turnover ball. Yeah, turnover ball though.
Yeah, just a lack of basic skills at the moment, Hamish. Both teams guilty of it.
Too often we're seeing it in that point of contact, the turnover. Nick Evans, nicely freed up to Sam Tui Tapo. Gets the pass away for Xavier Rush on his Blues teammate, and good pace. Oh, excellent pace from Xavier Rush. That came from the turnover against the Shadow All Black team. And Sam Tui Tapo laying on the try for Xavier Rush. The Possibles back in front.
Well, Rush against Muliaina.
No contest, Bill.
Well, you thought it wouldn't have been. You thought the defensive man would have had him, but great stuff here from the Possibles. Evans, of course, who's moved in the first 5'8". Great skills. Just scooping it off the deck to Tuitopu, and look at this man Rush go. He just backed himself all the way and got there. Superb support play from the Blues captain and number 8.
Yeah, look at the determination on his face. There's no way he wasn't going to get to that line. But put that down to Nick Evans. He offloaded that ball superbly. The number 15 playing from the Highlanders. He's had a superb season, and he's taking this right into this trial. Offloaded. There was Tui Tupu, and my word, they finished fantastic.
The number 15, of course, played first 5'8" now that Aaron Major is out of the trial. And that's relayed that lovely pass on for Sam Tui Tapo. Nick Evans. Xavier Rush, the try scorer. Well, a chance to go in front by 3. Here comes Evans. Oh, he struck that sweetly. Lovely conversion from Nick Evans. And referee Barry O'Brien says that'll do for the first half. Oh, the Shadow All Black team with some work to do. The Possibles lead the Probables 17-14 at Eden Park.
What a classic way for the Possibles to finish with a rush and grab the half-time lead, 17-14 at Eden Park with the All Black trial. Now, the All Black coaches actually told the Possibles to try out a few things with their game plan to put the Probables under pressure. Well, they've certainly got that. As we take a look at the stats at half-time, as you can see there, they've certainly got a hit out for that first test coming up against England in 11 days' time. Territory even, possession very even, rucks and mauls going the way of the Possibles, line-outs even, but look at that, the turnovers, the handling errors and the missed tackles, all major problems at this stage for Graham Henry and the Probables to sort out for that second half. Right, with his analysis, here's Ian Kirkpatrick.
Okay, there's been no real standout, but Jerry Collins is one who's really put his hand up. He's only got 40 minutes to do it. As we see, too early, he's setting it up, and Jerry Collins taking it up like we know he can. With a tremendous leg power, he turns, sets it up, and Jerry Collins again, dummies, turns, great setup, and good ball back. And now Jerry Collins pressure on the kick from Major in the 18th minute, which leads to the first try. Here's Jerry Collins, great charge down, and first around, and he just makes it in time. So first try to Jerry Collins, and then we go back to pressure on Justin Marshall early on. Bad pass, which is not like him. Kelleher, pressure on him. One pass, confrontation on Tuitupa. And so there's huge pressure in the 26th minute. We see the Possibles with their tremendous ball retention and control, and a simple try coming up here for Caleb Ralph as the Possibles set it up. Again, Keller draws them out and just pops it back into Caleb Ralph. Great try, but the Probables will be very worried about that defensive line. And in the 30th minute, we see Carlos Spencer, who hasn't kicked it a lot, puts a bomb up, which we haven't seen a lot of, but it was done very well. Flick back by the Probables, and Marshall with this big pass out to Joe Rokathoko, who flicks it on to Mills Miliaina, and he's away in the corner, uses his pace across the goal line and in towards the goal post. A great try to the Probables fullback. And in the 39th minute, we see pressure on the play again as the Possibles put the pressure on the Probables. Turnover time comes out to Kelleher, who goes out to his left, and it's Nick Evans, great skill on off the ground, flicks it up to Tuitupu, and he just sets it up for Xavier Rush in the local number 8. Popular try to the Blues number 8, Xavier Rush, and scores that try right on the 39 minutes of the first half. So it's been
tight and tough up front. What about the battle of the backs? Let's go down sideline now with Oscar Kiteley. And he's got the former All Black Earl Curtin.
Thank you, Clint. Well, Earl, pretty scrappy first half. What do you make of the back play that we've seen so far?
That's exactly what it is. Scrappy and patternless. But it's been interesting all along. Obviously, Carlos has been told just to unload the ball and not to try anything silly. And, of course, I thought Major played very well. He got one kick charge down there he scored from, but it was a bit fluky. He put 2 good up and unders. He's defended well. And you might have seen the first couple of balls he got. His passing was awfully slick. And I thought he played quite well. The other thing was Tuipulotu and Carter are cancelling one another out, as you can imagine, at this level. And then the other I think, feature of it is Kelleher's well and truly getting stuck into Marshall. Marshall's struggling behind his pack. Mind you, the white pack's playing well. Muse, even though I don't do too much about props, seems to be giving Somerville hell.
Awesome. Thank you, Earl. Well, thanks for your halftime thoughts. Lovely having you as part of the team. And don't forget, New Zealand, you too can actually have a go at picking who's going to be the bolter. All you have to do is text your pick. Now, if you think Deacon Manu, it's AB space B for black and then the number 1. Or if you think Jono Gibbs, AB space W and then 4 for Jono's number. Text costs 50 cents. Text it to the number 3050. It's not a competition, but you could be right. Back to you, Clint.
Yes, if you want a tip for that new cap of the All Blacks tonight, W15, Nick Evans seems to be playing his way into the ABs at this stage, half-time. Stick around, team. We'll take a break, back with the second 40 right after this.
So the second half about to get underway of the All Black trial, where at the moment it is, well, the supposed second 15, the Possibles in white leading the Shadow All Black team by 17 points to 14. And Nick Evans gets it underway. Down to Brad Thorpe, takes it in. Looking for a little bit more, well, I guess a step up in the second 40 of this trial.
Well, I think what they'll be looking for, Hamish, is doing some basics well. Both teams are falling down after some good work by making simple mistakes. I'm sure that the respective coaches at half-time said just keep it simple, do the simple things well. Reuben Thorne, be interesting how he goes in this second 40. I thought Jerry Collins did a good first 40.
Take advantage, White.
Yeah, one of the standouts, Jerry Collins.
Forward, Black.
And let's be honest, there wasn't too many standouts, was there, in fairness? It was pretty even across the board.
She's not a night to get too excited about chances against the world champions.
Well, we just said
11 days time.
We just said about keeping it simple and limiting mistakes, and then we see from a line out, a couple of knock-ons early. So let's hope that's not for things to come in the second half.
Kelleher with a kick in behind. Joe Rokotoko goes back for this one. And he's driven over the line. It'll be a 5-metre scrum.
Good chasing up with a kick there by Byron Kelleher. Made the kick and chased hard. I think it was a deliberate screw from the Possibles pack, trying to work the blind side.
On this one for me.
And Joe Rokotoko, he didn't have many opportunities there, did he? He just did the safe thing, pressed it in goal.
Good kick and chase from Kelleher. There's a solid Possible scrum, which has absolutely dealt to the Shadow All Black pack.
They're going to get a pushover if they...
And try, score to the back, Xavier Rush. Gets a double.
Well, I tell you what, there's going to be some very disappointed people in that Probables team. The Possibles have just taken it to them.
Well, right now, Xavier Rush, Ali Williams, a smile on his face.
Yeah, we always say there's a couple of guys that put their hand up, and he's a man who's just taking his opportunities. Not doing anything too flashy. We see the scrum, and you've mentioned it all night, Bull. Front rowers will be having nightmares about that, and Hoare and Somerville and Manu, there we go, right through the middle. There's just no one there, and the line's coming up. Controlled the ball well there.
Well, they actually dismantled the black scrum there, AJ. Deacon, Manu and Hoare were lying on the ground. They were out of play. They just got roll bowled and tickled over. There's no doubt about that. Well, Case Muse is putting a strong case forward to these All Black selectors tonight. He is having a huge game, particularly set piece time.
So Nick Evans with the conversion attempt to the second try scored by Xavier Rush. Certainly putting his hand up for the number 8 jersey on the end of a good effort from the Possibles pack. He's floated that one over. The flags go up again. So the Possibles 24 lead the Probables 14.
Well, we just saw the replay here again. He had a bit of work to do, Bull. He wasn't over the try line by any means. He had to leap over or dive over the try line. As you said, there was just no black jerseys in front of him.
No, they were just split, AJ. They were just scattered around the Possible scrum.
Restart.
Stay, Black,
Good
stay.
take by
Stay here.
John Gibbs in the heart of that. Kelleher. Back for Evans. It's the kick away.
Yeah, impressed with John O'Gibbs tonight, just doing the basics well. Kickoffs, line out. I think he's won all his line out balls, taking the ball up when he has to, not going too far, not getting too isolated, getting the support and getting the ball back to Byron Kelleher. He's had a very solid game.
Well, Graham Henry joked during the week that if a Possible's got a lead on, he might pull one or two of them. I don't think he's going to do that. He's going to want this black team to gut it out. Carter, Umaga, cross for Howlett. Shadow test team get there in numbers through Brad Thorne, the drive.
Leave it, White, leave it, White, leave it, leave it.
Umaga goes without it.
Let it go.
Well, what the black team needs now, the Probables, they need some of these experienced players to step up and say, come to me and create something.
There's Keith Robinson into the tackle of Simon Mailing. The two big men come together.
Yeah, he's on his feet, no problem. In the side. Come from the back. You come in here and hook him out. Hook the back of it.
There's just a bit of frustration coming in there. They had the numbers, but look, the determination from the Possibles, take your hat off to them. They just, obviously their try has just stimulated them. They're a lot more excited, a lot keener, and you can see it on the field here. They're just so determined to get to that loose pill and making life very difficult for the boys in black.
John O'Gibbs decides to take the points on offer. Frustrated looking Tana Umaga. Look at this again, Keith Robinson. Bang. He was in the other half of that tackle. On this side of the Simon Mailing. I think it was Newby. Yeah, Craig Newby, who's taking a little bit of time just to
They just rolled him, you see. He took the ball up very hard, does Keith Robinson. That's the style of play. But you saw a good tackle there from Manning. He just rolled him on his back. He couldn't release the ball. And there we see the frustration there from Brad Thorne.
As he came in through the side there, not coming in through around the back, through the gate as they call it.
Yeah, the Probables have been guilty at breakdown time of getting isolated, and their support players have been a bit slow at times. And that's causing problems with the clean-out area.
Been impressed with this with this boy Nick Evans in his kicking. I don't think he's missed one tonight.
Pretty relaxed sort of style, isn't he? And
put the mocker on him, I did.
Yeah, you did, AJ. Well done.
22.
Tana will be grateful for that, because right now his side is staring down the barrel of an embarrassing defeat. Shadow All Black 15. Although quite clearly we've known the likes of Muse in the calculations for the 15, even though they are playing in the possible, the white side tonight. 46 minutes gone, 10-point advantage to the Possibles. Ben Artinga.
No. Play the scrum.
Oh, gee, it looked like it was lost back from Artinga to Tui Tupo, but we'll play the scrum. Now, this problem area, if this was an All Black pack going out against England in 11 days' time in Dunedin, they would get snotted by the English pack.
He should be certainly very worried, that's for real. Well, the key now, Hamish, is with these two forward packs is getting the right mix of players. There's going to be a blend, I believe, which is going to be the All Black forward pack out of these two, and it's got to be the right mix.
Again, the scrum screws one way and the black team work at the other, but they get away with it this time. Marshall and Muliaina.
Come out, what?
Spencer. Taken up by Marty Holler, just short of the 22. Gee, the black team need to get some momentum on, and some points on the board would be a bit of a help too.
That ball's just too slow, too static.
The opportunity to regroup. Reuben Thorne. Bit of a touch for him, the former All Black skipper. Fighting for his place in the All Black squad. Spencer, knocked forward.
No, we'll come back, lost forward Black, no advantage.
Well, John O'Gibbs just in back play, holding the old noggin. Might have just taken a slap, bit of a knock on the nose as we look at this one from Marshall.
Yeah, Carlos Spencer was just a bit out in front of him here, couldn't handle. And this is where John O'Gibbs gets hurt here. He comes in here, and I think he just bent his neck a little bit.
He was committed. If he had that ball, I don't think Carlos Spencer would be standing. But I mean, Carlos was flat. He was flat-footed. He wasn't even moving onto that ball from Carlos Spencer. So really, it was just a desperation. He stuck out a hand and easy knock on and turned over the board from one of the few glimpses where they've been on attack. So again, basically stale.
Tana Umaga in deep conversation there with Carlos Spencer as big Carl Hoff. Darren Major, who has medial ligament damage.
Was obviously telling him the ins and outs of prop play there from Aaron Major.
Well, generally it's the props that talk to the backs, AJ, and give them advice. Unusual for a back to give a prop advice. It's usually the other way around.
I'm just going to say, what's Aaron Major's experience in the front row?
Very limited, I'd suggest.
That's a better scrum from the black team, picked up off the back and driven by Xavier Rush. He's had a pretty good game, 2 tries for the Blues skipper. Back for Evans, gives himself a bit of space and gets the kick away. 3-sport the All Black trial. Possibles leading the Probables 24 points to 14.
A bit slow recycling there, mate.
Well, I think that's been the story of the night, Paddy O'Brien, the slow recycling of the ball.
Hold there, White, hold,
It certainly is a trial. Gee, she's low-key compared to our last trot in the old commentary box in Canberra.
Hands off, Black.
There's Simon Mailing, who's been doing the grunt in the thick of things.
Stay there. Stay, Black.
Evans, Tui Tupo, Sam Tui Tupo. Keith Robinson comes across and knocks him to the deck. Numbers to the right here, Kelleher. The pass back inside, intercepted by Andrew Hoare, who has Rakathoko outside him. Ben Artinga, lovely tackle. Back for Hoare, 12 metres out.
Come out of it, White. Leave it. Yeah, he's okay. No problem.
Oh, good work, Case Muse.
Up the middle goes Josh Blackie. Kelleher puts the kick downtown for Mills Muliaina. A huge kick from Kelleher. the best part of 60 or 70 metres. Muliaina has Evans on, tries to free it, intercepted by Caleb Ralph. In goes Newby. Paddy O'Brien tells the black players to keep their head off it. Back for Xavier Rush, kicking behind. Well, Brad Thorne taking Josh Blackie out there, and Muliaina getting back for it, and it's Blackie who eventually takes him. Rokathoko, up for Andrew Hoare.
Oh, Andrew Hoare, superb play. He was up the other end of the track trucking the ball up, and now he's back on defence. Superb.
Tuiali'i hasn't had too many opportunities, and certainly the 7 men in front of him. Oh, Spencer took his eye off it. Newby chases him, and into touch. Attacking line out for the Possibles. Well, a chance to really set some embarrassment here as big Carl Hoft and Tony Woodcock come into the game.
We see here, it looks as though Carlos just took his eye completely off that ball. He hasn't got himself into the game in the second half, and he's a bit of a rude awakening to him because he's been outplayed by his opposite at the moment, and certainly not the Carlos Spencer we've come to expect to see tonight.
Andrew Hoare heavily involved. Joe Rokathoko. There's that lovely tackle by Ben Artinga, who certainly is a player of the future. So Deacon Manu, well, to be brutally honest, he hasn't done his chances much chop tonight.
Oh, I think that's a very fair statement. Case Muse, he's coming off as well for the Possibles, and he's done himself every chance of making the side. Be interesting how the scrum changes with the 2 replacement props on there.
Case Muse will be delighted, I think.
I don't think you lose too much with Carl Hoff coming into your pack, that's for certain. Very, very strong scrummager.
Evans, Tui to Poe, pop pass up to Ben Artinga. Umaga makes the tackle, 7 metres out from the shadow All Black line.
Roll clear after the tackle.
And they've got a bit of momentum up, haven't they? The white side, the Possibles.
Well, they're playing with confidence, Hamish, aren't they? Things are coming their way. The black team's doing a lot of defending, making mistakes, and they're just looking a bit skittery at the moment.
Interesting to see what the decision John O'Gibbs will make here.
Hold it.
He might choose to take a scrum, does he? No, he's going to take the 3 points on offer.
Well, I think Xavier Rush made that decision because I think that's
John O'Gibbs
down
is
on
still
the deck.
struggling with his neck. If that's that neck from the Spencer tackle, then...
Well, that would be a real loss to the game.
Okay, injury break here. Let's have a look at some of the mistakes that the Shadow 15, the Probables, have been making.
Yes, as Hamish mentioned, the mistakes by the Probables. And here comes the pressure on the black side, the Probables, and that's a big concern for the selectors. As we see Spencer trying to go for it, knocking it on, and then coming back again. Carlos, uncharacteristic.
Well, there's a couple of happy boys there. Case Muse, not so much Aaron Major. He'll be happy with the fact that his team is playing well, but he has medial knee ligament damage. The penalty was successful, and it is the Possibles leading the Probables. That's the All Black Shadow 15, 27-14.
Wednesday after SVU.
So Spencer gets things back underway. What a job they have to do. Taken in by Tui Poloto. Kelleher waits. Pretty tidy game at halfback, Byron Kelleher, who's had a very good season with the Chiefs after moving north from the Highlanders. There's Evans with the kick away.
He's had a pretty solid game, has Nick Evans. Pretty sure you could put a little ring around his name. Played his way into the 26.
Wide, come down hard.
Well, he's been aided, hasn't he, AJ, by that solid forward pack so far. The Possibles doing an excellent job and giving Byron Kelleher and co a nice ride behind them.
Advantage, Black.
Just knocked forward and nearby. And an early tackle is the ruling, though, against Josh Blackie. Somerville was taken without the ball. Craig Newby told to get on his bike by Paddy O'Brien.
Hamish, just to interrupt the bulletin, Ali Williams getting ready to come on.
Ali Williams. Well, he's a guy who had a bit of fall from grace during the Super 12, worked his way back into the Blues frame after being at the World Cup.
Looks like the skipper, the number 4, John O'Gibbs. That's a sad side. He's led this team extremely well. And
he has.
Let's see what impact this would make with the skipper coming off. I know they've got Xavier Rush here who can take over leadership, but he's had a very fine game. And he'd be bitterly disappointed in leaving the trial at this stage.
Bitterly disappointed to come off, AJ, but well pleased with his efforts. John O'Gibbs has gone very close to penciling himself into the 26. Keith Robinson gets high. Now Marshall, chance with some good ball. Here's Holler. Tuiali'i.
Get off, Terry, get off!
Of course, this is the Shadow All Black team without Richie McCaw and without Chris Jack, and you get the feeling they've been missed tonight. Wide to Rokathoko. Again, the white team defence is equal to the occasion. Spencer. Carter. Umanga. Oh, good tackle. Tuitapole.
Push back, push back.
The All Black skipper hasn't been given much space tonight. And nor has he had much front foot ball to work with either. Marshall. Here's Tony Woodcock. Promising young prop forward, went on the inter-season tour 18 months ago. Marshall tries to go up the middle.
Slowing it down, White, come on. Number 6.
Penalty against Craig Newby.
Yeah, I'll try and quicker.
27-14, the second 15, leading the probable All Black Shadow 15. Sam Tuitapole certainly has been the standout number 12. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, you mentioned Tana Umanga hasn't had many opportunities. Tuitapole just up, straight on him, and didn't give him a chance to move.
Well, he loves that stuff, doesn't he? I mean, he's a terrier in the tight. He just loves those big hits. He's not a big man, is he? He's only 80-odd kilos, but does he pack a punch when he hits you?
And he's taken his opportunities well too tonight, AJ.
Yeah, tidy game. You know, nothing, not too many mistakes, and trying to bust the line. And he did, obviously set up one of the tries, so he'd be pretty happy with this performance.
Tuiali'i just gets out of the way across here for Carter. Back for Umanga again. Into Tuitapole. Marshall, Spencer. Carter frees it up to Rokathoko, twisting and turning. 10 metres out.
Stay wide, get back!
Marshall.
Go back, White, go back!
Look at the play halfback as Mailing comes pouring through. Rokathoko, scragged down by Xavier Rush. The Possibles come away with it. Once again, a lack of control from the Probables.
I was going to say a lack of commitment to Hamish. They didn't have the numbers here and they didn't blow over.
Wide they shifted across here to Sivavatu on Howlett. Little double around there for Nick Evans. Gets away from Andrew Hoare, but just about intercepted by Greg Somerville. Play the line out.
And there's going to be a big cheer very soon, Hamish, because Andrew Mertens is coming on.
Oh, this will make things interesting. Andrew Mertens wasn't in the All Black trial until 20 minutes into that final in Canberra. And he will come on at first 5'8", replacing Carlos Spencer.
Well, is he the man to do the job again? He hadn't played a lot of rugby, no semi-finals. Then, of course, he plays that major role in the final against the Brumbies. Has a blinder in the trials, and all of a sudden now he's got 30 minutes to cement a place for him in this All Black side.
Just waiting for Nick Evans getting some treatment and back play as Carlos Spencer comes to the bench, sitting there with Jerry Collins, who had a pretty solid first half there. Well, there you go. Didn't run too often tonight.
Well, you'd have to say it's a similar situation. Bring the man on with the experience. Things aren't going too well for this Shadow Test side. Bring that experience together and say, well, look, guys, follow me. I'm used to this role, and I can set the way for you.
Yeah, and one thing that Andrew Mertens does so well, he gets you in field position, doesn't he? He knows the rugby field so well, and he'll put the ball on a dime and put you in field position. But one of the problems for me at the moment with this Probables team, they just seem to be lacking urgency. They're just not getting there in numbers. They're not desperate enough. The Possibles have got all the urgency and all the desperation.
It's just that 50-50 ball we saw there when they're on attack. You know, didn't have the numbers there, and 2 or 3 of the Possibles just so eager to get that nut and upset it for the Probables.
Yeah, just more desperate, aren't they, AJ? They're just hungrier.
Well, that reflects in the score.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Ali.
Maialamu goes down the deck, down the back to Mailing for Ali Williams on the old-fashioned woolly away.
Stay.
Keith Robinson driving through. Kelleher, well, it's a shocker. Tuitapole goes back for it. Gasses away from the defence easily. Sivavatu. Siravini Sivavatu. Tuiali flat, very flat on Blackie, but he retains the possession. And Nick Evans. Time here for Howlett, centre of the field, midway 22 and halfway, and Tane Tuipolotu coming through on him and smash bang.
And look at the white jerseys arrive in mass.
The call was release it. They have the numbers if they can shift it. Mertens across here to Carter, and he has Rakathoko on his outside. Rakathoko, oh, good chase, Evans. I was about to say good night. Didn't want to speak too soon. Here they come again with big numbers to the right.
Get your hand out of it on this side. No, can't slow it down.
Disappointed. That looked like he was home and dusted, didn't it? Rocco Thoko, isn't he great to see with some space in front of him? But again, Nick Evans, he's got some toe as well.
I'm just wondering if Nick Evans has got heaps of toe or Joe Rokothoko's not at his full top end.
Yeah, good call, Paul.
That's what it looked like to me. A couple of times he's had opportunities and he doesn't look like his top end's working just right yet. But Dan Carter, we know how good this boy is.
Lovely.
Made the clean break, gave his team the opportunity, but they couldn't finish the job.
On the rare occasions we've seen the boy Daniel Carter show his wares, and he did look good, but as I say, just hasn't had the opportunities tonight.
Well, Dan Carter, Tana Umunga, we haven't mentioned their names too often. They haven't had a lot of opportunities.
Well, the forwards just aren't getting a good enough ball. I mean, we'll read about it tomorrow that Carlos Spencer had an average game by every ignoramus around the country, but if you don't get good ball, what can you do?
Yes, there's a big question mark over this black pack at the moment, Hamish, no doubt.
Well, they're not a team that you'd be wanting to take on England with in 11 days' time.
I'd suggest they won't be taking on England that pack.
Exactly.
They'll be mixed up.
And if you think a team without Johnny Wilkinson and without Martin Johnson, without Johnny and Johnson, if you think they're going to be easy beats, then you're dumb and dumber, because they will be tough.
Experienced, hard-nosed Northern Hemisphere rugby. They'll be rubbing their hands with glee at the moment, saying, well, fellas, we haven't got much to worry about at the moment.
Greg?
Yeah, a lot of talk about them being geriatrics, but I heard Graham Henry say he wants to see guys wearing the black jersey that are 30 years old, 32 years old, that have that experience, that have been around for a while, because you just cannot buy experience.
Are you putting your hand up, Bill?
Oh, no, I'm well past experience, mate. I'm a veteran. Way gone.
Advantage with the shadow team. Here goes Brad Thorne into the tackle of Heyman. Marshall. Mertens. Carter. Carter just trying to get on the outside. Evans makes the tackle. Just short of the 22. Marty Holler up the middle. Kelleher, Chiefs teammate, goes after him. Taken by Marshall. Sivavatu up to Hoare. That's more like it.
Try to.
Well, they needed something, that's for sure. Dan Carter once again showing his class. Andrew Hoare, I've been impressed with this guy. Their scrum has struggled, set pieces have struggled, but he's been good round the track. Good stuff. Yeah, Marty Holler, superb. Just spotted the wide open spaces and backs himself and unable to unload. Justin Marshall unloading as well, superb stuff, and Hoare line beckoning. Too strong.
Yeah, good back up there by the hooker, and his work rate, nothing wrong with his work ethic, just the odd couple of throws, but put that down to Carter, breaking the advantage, getting some go-forward ball, one of the rare times they have, and look what do, they score 5 points.
So Carter with the successful conversion, 27-21, the Possibles, the second 15, the Shadow All Blacks, the Probables.
You see here what good play there by Marty Holler, and he's been buried in the tide. He hasn't had the opportunity to get out there and run with the ball. Marshall, good support, and there's the hooker there. Yeah, well done to Andrew Hoare. Good try. One of the few times that the sides show some continuity, and they come away with 7 points.
Keith Robinson from the kick-off.
Hands off, White! Stay there, stay there.
Marshall eyeing a bit of a gap. Can't free the pass. Keith Robinson, he's the pass across.
Get out of it, White!
Holler carts it up. Umunga in close quarters.
Just finding some balls now, aren't they?
Reuben Thorne.
Well, they've shown some urgency, AJ. They're getting some numbers there, which they haven't been doing.
Well, it's taken them 60 minutes to find some, though.
Well, they've had the big wake-up call, and they're going to get done if they didn't wake up.
There's the kick in behind. Kelleher knocks it down, and it's a touch. 27-21, the Possibles, the white team, lead the Shadow All Black 15. Quick one, taken.
Play it again. It's going to be straight when they're lined up.
Well, every team needs a go-to man when things aren't going well, and Dan Carter, for me, has been the guy that's actually got this Probables team on a bit of a roll. He's got something going for them.
Come on, right down.
A clean break, a half break, and he's got things moving for the side.
Or would you put that down to the presence of Andrew Mertens?
Well, maybe Andrew Mertens is giving him that space, AJ.
Sueli off the top. See some good ball. Charge here for Mertens, goes bursting through the gap. Cuts it wide to Muliaina. He's got Rakathoko on the outside. Rakathoko coming across to make the tackle. Sinavini Sivavatu. Try is given. Great finishing, Rakathoko.
Well, we've got to pat our co-commentator on the back. He was just talking about Andrew Mertens. Spotted the gap. It was like inviting a child to a bar of chocolate. He went through it. And good to see Joe Rakathoko getting this try.
Great finishing.
Wow, he had a lot of work
we'll
to
give him the benefit of the doubt.
But look at this from Mertens. Just spots the gap, throws the half dummy. Still got a bit of toe, the young Andrew Mertens. And what a beautiful pass out there. Muliaina, they always had the numbers. It was just a matter of whether Joe Rakathoko could muscle his way over, and he did it beautifully. Superb stuff.
I think the replay definitely showed he did put it down on the line there, and a lovely finish by Rakathoko. But look, this is the young, new, old, reconditioned Andrew Mertens without the side chops. But as you see, he took his opportunity and he was through there and set up a lovely try.
66 tests he played, Andrew Mertens. Carter comes in. Conversion attempt misses. So second try of the second half.
Look at him go down. Look, he's pinning back his ears. Good vision. Passes the ball out there to Muliaina. We know he's good with it. I thought he passed a wee bit too early. Got round Tui Peluto. And then, of course, a really ineffectual tackle there by Sivivatu. He went too high, and a good finish there by the winger.
So just the 2 points in it now. 27-25. The Possibles gone off the boil a little bit since they've lost their leader, Jono Gibbs. And this team here is starting to get some ascendancy in the forwards, which is allowing their backs to do a little bit more. As Umaga frees the pass, but turned over by Tuiali'i. Here it is for Ben Artinga.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, Hamish. The Possibles have lost Jono Gibbs. The Probables have had Andrew Mertens injected into the game. Just little things like that make a huge difference to outcomes of games. It's all about timing.
Well, you can see the forward effort has just doubled. I mean, this is not a forward pack we've seen for the last 60 minutes. They're just a bit more urgent, a bit more committed, and getting the decent ball which this back line requires.
Rush. Caleb Ralph had a pretty handy trial tonight, Caleb Ralph. This is Josh Blackie inside the 22. Mertens and Marshall, the old firm, get back to make the tackle.
Leave Black, leave it! No! Stay, Black, stay.
There it is. For the Possibles. Ralph. Evans. Sam Tui to Paul. Loses it forward. Turnover ball picked up here by Tuiali'i.
Black ball. Lost forward.
And defensive scrum.
Under pressure.
Look at those turnovers. Plenty of turnovers. 2-1 claimed by the Possibles, the white team.
Well, there's just far too many, isn't there? Some great little passing here from the Possibles. Really gave themselves an opportunity. But this, to me, is where it broke down. The ball, the turnover of the ball from that point was too slow. It came a bit static, and it just crabbed the back lines.
So 27 points to 26, the scoreline here. The Possibles lead the Probables. So there they are, the three wise men. We've got some decisions to make between now and tomorrow morning, and some pretty tough calls to make. Carlos Spencer, one would imagine, will be there, but I don't know that Dick and Manu will be too happy with the way things went tonight.
Get in, bind up, number 8. He's okay, he's okay.
Scrum pressure, immense, Hoft on Somerville. Back for Marshall. Gets the kick away.
I'd say they'll be feeling a bit more comfortable at this scoreline than they did at half-time, with the Shadow Test side going up just down behind by 1 point. But that last set of play there, Bull, it was good to see the interplay between the number 6 and the number 7, both Highlander boys, Newby and Josh Blackie, and good to see loose forwards there building a combination.
Hold that gap, Black. Half a step, Black.
Kevin Mayalamu. Down the back to nobody in the end. Marshall comes around, scoops it up into the tackle of Kelleher. Up over halfway.
Stay wide.
Mertens waits at halfback. Off for Tuiali'i. Hasn't had too many. There's the first chance we've really seen him bust a tackle, and Lukaso was going to offload. Doug Howlett into a bit of space. Steps inside. Howlett. Sivavatu getting back, almost scragging him.
Playing advantage, White.
Now he frees it.
Went forward.
Lost forward is the call against Doug Howlett.
Oh, bad luck for Doug Howlett. Great urgency from Hamp. This is the Doug Howlett of old. Just really backing himself here. Stepping, running, trying to use his strength as well. But it all breaks down here. He just loses it forward.
Isn't it good to see a winger with some space again? And you say Doug Howlett, by his standards, had a very quiet season, but stepped off his right, stepped off his left, bit Tuivalutu, and that's no easy job, and just lost the ball in the last seconds. Here we see him. Sivavatu got him around the neck. He's just trying to offload the ball and just loses it forward in the tackle there.
So both the hookers have come off, Hoare and Mayalamu. I would say they are rock solid in the test squad.
Okay, we've got 2 new hookers. I want to have you closer.
Yeah, well, they both added different things to the game. I think Andrew Hoare's had the bit around the field, but certainly the possible scrum with Mayalamu and set pieces. Well, maybe not the line-out, but certainly the scrum has been better.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Get it in.
Get it in is the call from Paddy O'Brien. Darren Whitcomb and Corey Flynn, the 2 new hookers.
That's fine, you two.
I'd give them a half each. First half to Mayalamu, the second to Andrew Hoare.
Crouch and hold only.
They'll certainly both be there when the team's named tomorrow, AJ, I would suggest.
Think. Let's shut up. Right, come up. Crouch and hold. No wonder. Gauge.
Getting it in there, Kelleher eventually. Off the back for Xavier Rush. Kelleher into the tackle of Tuiali'i. And Evans gets the kick away. 12 minutes remaining. 12 minutes to stake their claim for a black jersey to play England in 11 days' time. Again, the line out is untidy. Taken in by Corey Flynn.
It's not the start you'd want from a hooker. I know you've just come on, but you've been training with the team all week. Your role is to throw the ball in. Whitcomb had it there. He should have put it right on the money.
Well, there's a popular bloke. Sione Loaki.
Number 6, White.
On for Craig Newby. It's just a few minutes to show his wares. We saw plenty of it during the Super 12 playing for the Chiefs. Top player he was too for Auckland in the NPC last year. Sione Loaki. Fallen down from Marshall. Mertens. Carter. Umaga getting on the outside. Up for Howlett. That's more like it. Here it is for Marty Holler. Scragged down. Just 4 or 5 metres out. Marshall up for Thorne. Looking to regroup the Black Pack. Marshall. Kelleher looks after him. Marshall presents the ball again here for Holler. Umaga. Tony Woodcock with a bit of a step, the big prop forward. 3 or 4 metres out.
Lost forward, Black.
Oh, lost forward there.
Number 1.
Lost forward there by Tony Woodcock. So Big Os down sideline. What do you reckon the crowd have made of this one tonight, mate? They've been pretty quiet, but I guess going about picking their team like the rest of us.
Yeah, everybody's got their little clipboards, and also I noticed that on the Possibles bench, Isaac Boss still hasn't put on his Blues tracksuit. I wonder whether that's a Hamilton thing.
Very cutting, Oscar.
Just keeping it real, AJ.
Just once again, though, the Probables just letting themselves down with mistakes when it really counts.
Short of their line, the Possibles hanging on to this narrow 1-point lead inside the final 10 minutes. Muliaina cross to Howlett. Mertens, Muliaina again. Can't get on the outside of Tui Paloto, who's a pretty confrontational type tackler.
Coming around the side of it. Leave him, leave him!
Leave Marshall alone, offside as the call. Here it comes, Mertens. Gee, that was fairly solid.
Tell you what, he set it up though. He went in the confrontation, set it up.
Went straight into Loaki, brave man.
Get out, boy, get out!
Here's Woodcock, Darren Whitcomb. Carl Hoff makes the tackle on him. Centre of the park.
Yeah,
oof.
Leave it white!
I think with the Black being disappointing, not having the numbers to that loose ball to protect the halfback.
Here's Greg Somerville, 12 metres out.
Come out, white.
Charter. Muliaina with a kick for Howlett to run onto.
Stay up. Let it go.
Possibles get back for it, just 2 or 3 metres short of their line.
Yeah, keep your hands out. Coming back wide.
The old hands in the ruck.
Yeah, winger. You can't. Okay, ruck it form. Leave it.
Well, once again, the Probables getting all so close and just letting themselves down. Gee, they've had their opportunities, particularly in the last 10 or so minutes, but haven't been able to put the finishing touches on.
You get the feeling, though, Bill, it's only a matter of time. Here they are just dominating this last 5-6 minutes, controlling the line-outs, scrums, and the second phase, you say, just those little knock-ons at the wrong time, but it seems to be just a matter of time before they can get to find a bit of space, crack them and dot down and give themselves a lead for the first time in this match.
Xavier Rush, 2 tries. As we've mentioned throughout the commentary, he's had a pretty strong game, hasn't he?
I would have him in my team on tonight's performance. I think for him, Tuiali, it was all about tonight and who was going to do the business, and I think he's had the edge.
I think he has, and of course the player Graham Henry knows well.
Leave him in the air, leave his arm.
And he also brings leadership to a team, which is so important. Particularly in the All Blacks, you can't rely on one guy, you need leadership right throughout the team.
Looking for a pack leader with Tana Rumanga captaining from the midfield. With the injury to Aaron Major, put a ring around this guy's name, Nick Evans.
You think Nick Evans ahead of Andrew Mertens?
I think probably, possibly room for both.
I hope so, because Nick Evans has been very steady in his work tonight. He's done some good things, and he has the added value of being a very good goal kicker as well, if anything happens.
Would be tough on him to miss out, but then again, if the mix is 15 and 11, then maybe that will count against him. One-point lead. The Possibles over the Shadow All Black 15. Utapo and the double around here. It's Caleb Ralph. He hasn't done too much wrong tonight. Scored a pretty easy try early on in the game.
Yeah, he's fine.
Kelleher. Sione Loaki.
Yeah, 7-1, that's fine.
Interesting that he was judged by his sort of latter season performances for the Chiefs. As Umanga gets it wide out here to Howlett. We didn't see Mosi Tuiali'i in the business end of the season after he got suspended. Tui Paloto, Marshall giving chase.
Stay.
Back here to Evans. Whitcomb coming through on him. And a nice flaring kick deep into Probables territory.
Well, this white team, the Possibles, they don't want to give up their lead. They're just hanging in there.
The beauty of a trial, Bull. Beauty of a trial. The guys have had the opportunity to put their hand up, because if you had picked an All Black team based on Super 12, you might have got it wrong. Because tonight we have seen some guys come through.
And make no mistake, Hamish, this is a big step up from Super 12. Super 12, it's got all the gloss and glitter and the nice running and all that. The test matches aren't about that. They're about hard grunting and grinding and working hard to win matches.
It's been a bit more like watching Wasps playing Toulouse. That Northern Hemisphere grinding rugby that we hear so much about, which has provided the platform for that very good English side, the very good French side. There's a kick into a bit of space here for Muliaina. Carter, what can he cook up? Daniel Carter goes straight up the middle. High tackle from Carl Hoff. Whitcomb, quick across to Mertens. Rokathoko.
Went forward, coming back. High tackle, 17. Yeah, be careful.
Carl Hoff, that's not in his nature to be a dirty player, just a reaction.
Yeah, he's what I call one of the gentlemen round. He's been around a while, and that was just a loose arm, and he paid the price for it. But obviously a win is important to the side, so we see a kick taking place.
Wait for the boo around the stadium.
It won't go down as one of the great victories, will it? I mean,
no.
If you have a look at Carter here again on the replay there, the high tackle.
Yeah, no damage done there, just when we were too high, and Paddy on a good day may have let that go.
Yes, although Blues fans might argue about a tackle like that. If you think back to the Manu tackle on Carlos Spencer, Tanaru Munga. There's the one I would imagine that Xavier Rush has taken over the reins. He's had a good trial. Carter with a chance to put the Probables in front. Haven't seen that for a while. Here he comes, it'll have the legs. Has the accuracy too, so the shadow All Black 15 finally nudge in front, 29-27. Just a couple of minutes remaining on the clock. Might be a long night for the All Black selectors.
Well, I think it just shows you how even this trial has been, Hamish. What, 1.5 minutes to go, 2 points separate them, so this is going to be a tough decision to nut out that 26.
Evans. Tuipulotu, Tane Tuipulotu, number one of the numerous Auckland players, of course, plying their trade in other provinces now as Caleb Ralph shoots off down the right-hand side.
Stay back, Black, stay back.
Ali Williams towards the 22.
It's been a while since the Possibles have been in this part of the field. Corey Flynn.
Certainly lost something when they lost John O'Gibbs, but here's a bit of a chance. Loaki.
Stay back, stay back.
Scored a huge try here for the Chiefs against the Blues in Super 12, did Sione Loaki. Tui Tupo.
Let it go! Yes, it's fine.
Drop kick, there's the call. Back it comes. And Ward. He's fluffed it. Hands on head from the white team, the Possibles. 30 seconds is the call.
Well, it shows you how much a win means to both these teams going for drop kicks.
Brett Ward, of course, hasn't been on the field that long. Came on in the second half after information that he was coming on earlier wasn't correct. Ward from inside his 22.
Leave him, leave him.
Down to Andrew Mertens. Sivavatu. Mertens will get the kick away. Wind the clock right down. Paddy O'Brien decides that's enough. So the shadow, All Black 15, pull him out of the fire. With a late victory, 29 points to 27. Mosi Tuiali'i and Sam Tuitapo. These guys have put it on the line tonight. It has not been pretty. It has not been pretty, and certainly though, AJ Wetton, you've got to say the All Black selectors have got plenty to think about tonight before they name their team tomorrow morning.
Well, a typical trial, and as I said, there's a few smiles there, but yeah, there'd be a wee bit of pressure as they go into the room tonight to the wee hours and nut out their 26. A couple of players have certainly put up their hand to be in that squad, but as I say, the scrum would have been maybe one of the biggest worries to come out of this trial match. We see Graham Henry there and Smithy and of course Steve Hansen. So, as I say, a lot of work to do to come out to that 26, and as I say, a lot of work ahead of them late into the night.
Okay, a victory for the Shadow All Black 15. Plenty to talk about from the All Black trial when we come back after the break on 3 Sport.
One of the turning points of what turned out to be a very interesting night of football tonight with that try by Andrew Hall. Welcome back to 3 Sport as we wrap up the All Black trial, and lots to talk about. Who's played their way in, who's played their way out perhaps. And one of the guys who must be pretty happy is the Blues man who's played in white tonight, dotted down twice. And that's Xavier Rush, who's sidelined with the big O. Oscar Kindly.
Hey, thank you, Clint. Well, Xavier, how much more intense was that than the Super 12?
Yeah, it was right up there. It was up there with probably a semi-final or a final. There's definitely plenty of feeling out there.
Did you get any? Did you cop any cheap shots? Was there any argy-bargy in the middle?
Oh no, it was a pretty clean game. Both teams just were very physical. It was played in pretty good spirits.
2 tries for you, bro. You got to be happy.
Yeah, I mean the pack were fantastic to play behind tonight. You know, the front 5 they really did their job, and I was just fortunate to be on the back of them.
You glad to see the trial back?
Yeah, no, I am actually. I was involved with one in '97, and I was just a youngster then, but it was great to at least have an opportunity to put your hand up.
Cheers, Xavier. All the best for tomorrow's announcement.
Thank you, Oscar. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, bro. There you go. A very happy Xavier Rush. You said it was like a home game here at Eden Park. Let's go to Hamish now, who has some stats from tonight's game.
So there, at the end of the day, the Shadow 15 getting up 29-27. In the end, they had the better of both territory and possession, but only just, in one word, suggest that the white team, the Possibles, had better quality possession against the throw there at the line-out. 5 in favour of the Shadow All Black team. Turnovers 1, though. Possibles very strong there. Too many handling errors from both teams, and unfortunately too many missed tackles. But it was a trial. A good trial in the end. Certainly it's left the selectors with plenty to think about, and a bloke who scored a pretty good try is down sideline. Joe Rokothoko with Big Oscar.
Thanks, Hamish. Yes, I'm here with J-Rock. Hey, the last trial that you were in was the Under-19 New Zealand's. How did that compare?
More physical. It's more passionate, really. Both teams were fighting for that, the black jersey at the end of the night.
Are you happy with the way you played? I noticed you got chased down a couple of times. Were you just giving them a chance, or are you not quite back up to your full pace, bro?
Not quite there, to tell you the truth. Tonight was a matter of really kind of, striding it out a bit, just taking it easy a little bit. But I was more trying to concentrate on D, because I knew the acceleration was, back to grade 1 at the moment. But pretty pleased how everything went.
You're the incumbent All Black. Are you expecting your name to be called out tomorrow? Are you pretty confident?
Oh, especially tonight, it's really difficult for any player. Each player in this tonight was a question mark. So I'm not too sure. It depends on the new management for this year.
Awesome, bro. Well, I know it's your 21st on Sunday. That would be a pretty cool present. You got a big party planned?
No party planned. Yeah, it's too early for that at the moment.
Okay, bro. Thanks for your time. Cheers, Joe. There you go. Very happy Joe Rokothoko. He's 21 on Sunday. Can you believe it? Okay, back to you, Clint.
Oscar, I can't believe he's only 21 on Sunday. Let's hope he gets back to being a full V8 and running on full cylinders by the time he takes on the English, because he no doubt will be in that squad of 26 tomorrow. I'm trying to work out 15 forwards, 11 backs. Look, we'll circle a few names, get back with analysis right after this on 3 Sport. Stay with us.
And in a moment.
Welcome back to 3 Sport, wrapping up tonight's talking points from the All Black trial. If you look at the guys who may have played their way in tonight, look at that Evans, Muse, Rush, Tui Tupo, the entire tight 5 of that Possibles team. Merton's made an impact. Gibbs before he went off with the injury. If you look at the injury to Aaron Major, may make it easier for you to pick both Mertens and Nick Evans in your starting squad of 26, of course, for the All Blacks. And, of course, who played their way out? Manu, Mosi Tuiali'i. Plenty to talk about. Let's catch up with Hamish Mackay and his panel of 3 former All Blacks as the wise men go over their decisions tonight.
Yes, certainly, Clint. Henry, Smith and Hansen will be away chewing the fat now after that exhibition. Their shadow team just getting up there. Well, my 3 wise men, Messrs. Curtin, Allen and Wetton. Earl, first of all, a winner and a loser from you.
Well, I thought Carter was outstanding really tonight in a pressurised situation. His defence was superb, goal kicking absolutely spot on, and I thought generally too with his odd chips into space, I thought he was probably one of the better backs there tonight.
And good too with Tui Tupo breathing right down his neck all night.
Tui wouldn't leave him alone. He gave him heaps all night. But Carter, I was surprised. He never flinched, and nor did he lose concentration or that vision that he's got, which is remarkable for a young man.
Who played their way up?
Well, really, the only one I can think of really that sort of played their way up was probably, well, I thought Marshall was a loser in a sense. I didn't think the passing was good enough for an All Black scrum half. When he's had 60 tests, he shouldn't have had nerves. And I felt that Keller had the edge on him.
Right, ball into that front row business. How'd you see that?
Well, I think Case Muse was definitely the winner. I thought he was superb. Against Somerville, he had him under pressure all the time, just about. Was screwing the scrum, manipulating him when he wanted to, and because of that, he put the Possibles team on the front foot. I think Deacon Manu showed that he didn't really make the step up to Lucid. I thought he struggled at times. He certainly struggled because his pack around him struggled also. So he would be the loser for me, and Case Muse would come out a big winner.
Okay, AJ Witten, a particular interest in the number 8 battle?
Yeah, I think the boy Amosi Tuali is a man of potential, and he had a fine Super 12, but the step up tonight, I thought he was just a wee bit wanting. Put that down probably to not being in a dominant forward pack for most of that match, and I think that affected his play. But I think we can see better from him coming in the future, and as Graham Henry said, it's just a learning curve for him. I thought someone who did put their hand up was the number 10 who played fullback as well, was Nick Evans. Did everything right. I think a younger Andrew Mertens really in some ways. Haven't certainly seen the best of him, but certainly a man who showed some skills and some heart out there tonight.
Certainly a gifted footballer. Well, one guy who also impressed a lot, certainly in the second half, and his pack was going pretty well, was the Blues skipper in the number 8 jersey for the Possibles team. Let's have a look at some action from Xavier Rush, scoring 2 tries. He certainly looked to get on with the job, guys. I mean, he's a high-energy player. The stats from the Super 12 show he has a big work rate, and it was good to see him. It was a good gas here too. He sort of had the measure of Muliaina.
Yeah, but he was playing with a dominant pack, wasn't he? And I mean, you know, off the back, he got the advantage, and for the first 40-50 minutes, he was having a bit of an armchair ride, and unfortunately for Tuialii, he was struggling, and the scrum was under all sorts of pressure.
He had the ride behind the pack, didn't he?
It's still a big problem though, number 8 for the ABs, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But is he the answer? You don't think so, do you?
Oh, no. I mean, interim period it is, but I think to win a World Cup and take it up against England, and particularly against an England scrummaging pack, we've got to go around and manufacture one. We've got to find one somewhere, and that's obviously why Henry was so interested in Bad Boy Forever.
Yeah, you need someone who's big, mean, and the old Buck Shelford, Zinzan Brook mould, nasty, take it up, uncompromising forward who's got the skills to offload. Absolutely. And we just don't have that player.
No, we haven't got one playing Super 12 anyhow.
Okay, let's have a look now at fullback. Was a position that was certainly the spotlight. We've talked about Nick Evans having a pretty game, but I thought that Mills Muliaina, the incumbent, was back to somewhere near his best too. Some nice jinking runs as we've come to expect from him. Your thoughts on him, guys? I thought he played pretty well.
Well, he's had a quiet year to now, hasn't he? And he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but look at him, he showed real gas here, backed himself, and the couple of occasions where he had open space ahead of him, I thought he did very well.
74 metres gain too. I mean, that's a fair bit of.
He looks very good in open play. He needs some space to move to show his skills, and I think he showed that definitely in the second half when the forward pack from the Probables had some advantage. But there were a couple of times on defence he looked a bit shaky in that high ball, and we've seen better from him, I feel.
It's the high ball, and it's sometimes on defence where he gets a wee bit out of position and doesn't really show them the line. But he's still young.
And he's a very gifted footballer. I mean, we've seen some pace and he can step over. I mean, he's an exciting player.
Yes, he is, and I'd certainly be keeping him.
Yeah, but with the last line of defence, I want someone who's going to make sure they make that tackle or take that high ball. That's where I just have a question.
You'll have to get motivated.
He didn't get a lot of help from up front though, did he? I mean, let's face it, a lot of time the Probables forward pack was on the back foot, and that stifles the backs, doesn't it?
Okay, one guy that wasn't on the back foot was Jerry Collins, who had a pretty bruising first 40 minutes. Gets those legs pumping, doesn't he, Jerry Collins, the Wellington man?
Well, he had a good work rate. He was involved in a lot of play early on. He had a lot of go forward. He put himself in position to get hold of the ball. And for my money, he was by far the best blindside out there tonight.
Yeah, you would think that Jerry Collins, some good hits too, but 8 runs just on the field for 40 minutes. Some telling defence, and of course this nice charge down. I don't think he was expecting that off Aaron Major, which led to his try, but a solid 40 minutes from Jerry Collins. You would have thought that he would have backed his position. Now, another guy I thought had a pretty good game tonight, and he took a while to get back up to speed. They talked about World Cup baggage, was Doug Howlett. We've got a bit of footage from him, particularly the covering, sort of getting back there. I thought he did a good job in support of Mills Muliaina on this occasion there.
Well, he did a lot of that, didn't he, in the first half, especially when they're under all sorts of pressure. And I think he tried to run them out of trouble. Obviously a mistake there by Muliaina, but he was the Mr. Fix-It man, I thought, in the back line in that first half. And in the second half, when he did get some decent ball, we certainly saw the skills of Doug Howlett.
Well, he showed some real energy, which at times, to me, the Probables really lack. They seem to lack enthusiasm. And Doug Howlett, Earl, I thought, really threw himself into the game at times.
You have no problem with me with him. I think he's an outstanding player. He's got so much pace. And not only that, he worked tonight. Sometimes at Super 12, everyone realised he was cruising. When you see a guy play like that, then when suddenly the chips are down, then he can lift it like that. Oh, he's a world-class player.
He's a go-to man, isn't he?
Oh, he was energetic tonight. It was wonderful to see him back in form. See, that back line won't change much. I don't think Mr. Henry won't change it much at all. He doesn't really have to much either.
No.
The only guy that I thought was whipped dice was Carlos Spencer. I thought he was told, though, I reckon, just to unload. You're doing nothing tonight, boy. And that was it. I think Henry's totally satisfied with him.
Didn't quite play his natural game. He wasn't dominant. We didn't see the real Carlos Spencer tonight.
Well, he got some shocking passes.
Yeah,
and 3 or 4 were terrible.
Yeah, some pretty average ball delivered there to Carlos Spencer. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your thoughts on the All Black trial tonight. Of course, all will be revealed tomorrow morning, and we'll have a full analysis of the All Black team to play England in just 11 days' time. Can you believe that? Full analysis in 3 News from 6 tomorrow night. Over to you, Clint.
Yes, and in the end, All Black coach Graham Henry said he was pleased the Probables showed enough character to come away with the victory tonight, the sort of character they will need against the world champions England coming up on that first test from Carisbrook, Saturday night, June 12. Look forward to your company in the Deep South. On behalf of the team at 3 Sport, I'm Clint Brown. Thanks for joining us tonight. We leave you from an All Black trial where everything is not quite so black and white. Good night.
The All Blacks trial. Probables Possibles. Brought to you by the new Ford Territory. The possibilities are amazing.